Which Pokemon is the worst pet? Hoenn by Bumbles McFumbles. The last two have been amazing. Going through Kanto, going through Johto, going through and seeing how some Pokemon change, some for the better, some for the worse, right? I can't wait to see, a whole new world, right? Whole new world we live in, Pokemon Johto. Well, hold up. That was the Johto theme. Scratch that. We're diving into Pokemon Advance today. That's the main takeaway from this. I love how they change. Yeah, because it's still Xerneas. So I think he's changing some of them.
Pokemon! The third time? I know, I thought it was over too, but the Bible did say something about hell being hard to get out of. We're back again to talk about more Pokepets.
No, it's pronounced the Bibble.
Except instead of the desolate wastes of Johto, we're jumping into the deep end in Hoenn. Hoenn keeps its evolutionary additions to the baby forms, meaning its fully evolved lineup is all original. No new types, no apologies for making Lickitung. That means we have 76 new Pokemon to go over. A wide spectrum this time. Some lurking deep underwater, some in deserts, and others calling volcanoes home. If you have any preference, Hoenn has you covered. As long as you want a mixed attacker. To quickly go over the criteria again, Pokemon are graded on 5 categories. How easy they are to house, their type, which is based on the damn graph, their behavior, how safe they are, and how easy it is to take care of them. I'm the authority on this, as I'm the only one who bothered to do it. Once the scores are tallied up, we go from the bottom to the top, saving the top 5 best and worst for the end. The pets you'd write into your will, versus the ones who'd need you to write one.
I mean, that's how that works, right? That's how that works. I was the only one who did this, therefore this makes me the specialist. This makes me the expert. I can't find fault with this logic. And honestly, it's one of those that, we look at and we go, you know what? I mean, his system's been solid. You can argue there's bias towards certain typings, but I don't think it's without, merit. I mean, like all of these have made sense. So I've enjoyed this series up through this point.
Starting things out is the loneliest little boy who nobody liked, ranking in with a 1.5 out of 25, the lowest a Pokemon has ever sunk without dipping into the bottom 5. You can't even get on the loser's podium. What an underachiever! Or would this be an overachiever?
Poor Dustox. It would be overachieving down is how that would work.
Off is the tails of the most risky coin flip in Hoenn, Dustox. Now, Wurmple might not be psychic, but it can show you the future. As once you hit level 7, you get the rest of your life laid out for you. Ah, sweet, I'm getting Beautifly. Ah, shit, I'm gonna die. Dustox is a moth, meaning you're already gonna be barely seeing him since he's nocturnal. Not seeing Dustox, though, is actually a plus, since, like Venomoth, his wing beats create a thick cloud of poisonous dust that coats everything around it.
So obviously we have seen moths, and we have like moths with like scales on their wings, right? Although I feel like I just need to know a Lepidopterist at this point. Like I know an arachnologist. I love Mika. Mika's great whenever I talk to her. She's usually busy because, arachnologist things. But I feel knowing a Lepidopterist at this point would actually be really beneficial because I have so many questions on moths. And I could Google them, right? Moths are just so fascinating to me. Like, was it the lunar moth when it actually evolves, when it goes through its whole chrysalis thing, breaks itself down, builds itself back up into a lunar moth? Like, it just doesn't have a mouth, so it has a time period of where it actually can live or something like that. I think it's the moth Juniper actias Ego-Cider's based off of, right?
In fact, you're going to notice that this and Dustox got the exact same grades when it comes to being a pet, since they're almost the exact same when it comes to being a Pokemon. Yeah. That's not entirely true, really. For instance, Dustox is actually weaker, and makes up for that by being a dick.
Dustox is based on a lunar moth too. Oh, fair enough. I didn't actually know that. That actually reminds me, there's a video that's been in my feed called the Hoenn special with the stat blocks. I need to watch that. I don't remember who it's by.
Venomoth keeps its diet to smaller insects, Dustox prefers to feed on the foliage of large cities, stripping trees and bushes of all of their leaves as it sweeps through in swarms. And who do you think Dustox is gonna ask to let crash on the couch when they're all done? I liked you better when you were a mean ball. For our next category of pets, we're rocketing all the way up to 4 points, a 3-point increase from the last group. I apologize if that sounded like an improvement. We haven't gotten to the bad pets yet. The 4-pointers start out with another big blow to the pseudo-legendaries. Falling far from Dragonite, but managing to bounce back from Tyranitar with Salamence.
Yeah. It's that temperament, like size, temperament, power. Like, yeah, this one unfortunately makes a lot of sense. I mean, this is why you find, Bagon in like Meteor Falls, right?
Should be an inspiring story. The grumpy little Bagon trying desperately to fly, fortifying himself into Shelgon, and undergoing an amazing transformation into Salamence, finally becoming the dragon he always wanted to be. He left out his secondary dream of leaving no survivors. Salamence is just as aggressive as Tyranitar, except with the mobility to menace way more territory than that green bum ever could. Fulfilling his fantasy of flight is nice, but when he enters one of his frequent fits of rage, only quelled when his body is totally exhausted and gives out on him, it means the area for miles is in a lot of danger. Heck, he doesn't even have to be mad to cause damage. The Dex talks about how his happiness manifests into belching flames onto the area below him. It is incredibly hard to tell if Salamence is having the best day of his life or if a war just broke out. If you want to
why not both?
include the descriptions for Mega Evolutions, it can get so angry it'll even turn on its own trainer.
Wow.
One of the very few times Pokemon ever refers to a trained Pokemon attacking and killing a trainer.
Yeah.
I mean, even a perfectly trained one is going to cause you trouble sooner or later, because its hunting territory overlaps with Garchomps. Sooner or later, you're going to get a land shark knocking on your door looking for a fight. There's a world of difference, though, between Garchomp and the entire atmosphere. That's who you're going to be beefing with if you decide to keep a Deoxys.
All I can think of is Destiny Deoxys, where Rayquaza literally shows up because Deoxys encroached on its territory. I love their dynamic.
Deoxys is not a creature of Earth, said to be an alien virus that mutated into a form that we can only really call a Pokemon.
I mean, it's so cool. I love that stuff like this is in the Pokemon lore, and I actually really adore Deoxys. Like, it's a event Pokemon. We used to call them mythical Pokemon, right? So they haven't really been like eligible for like tournament play and stuff. I mean, obviously, like Smogon's a little different. We're talking VGC specifically. Actually, on that, Wolfie VGC had a great short on that fairly recently as of reacting to that, where the Pokemon Walking Wake and Iron Leaves were the only, like I was talking about this before about like deteriorating over of live service over a period of time, right? How unless you did the Walking Wake and or Iron Leaves event, like the Terra raids as they were, like you're just locked out of them now. Like you can't physically get them because you can't obtain them by a normal gameplay means. You have to do the raids, the event raids. Like he had ended up citing like how like there's been event Pokemon throughout the years that we can't use because of distribution, and this is a good reason why things like that have been in place. So if you're wanting to understand why like event Pokemon like Genesect, Celebi, etc. haven't been eligible for tournament play, go ahead and look at how many people are really upset that Walking Wake and Iron Leaves perform very well, not just in like VGC, but also I'm assuming like Smogon singles for those who play on the Switch console, right? And you'll start to understand the issues with exclusivity and distribution, especially if you're in an area where like how they give out the shiny Miraidon and Koraidon codes. Like imagine if they because I know Volcanians had a couple of those, right? Where they hand them out via like physical code card from like a GameStop or something. Now imagine if you're in an area that just doesn't get that. You're actually sleazed out of having that for competitive play. Just things to think about.
Oh, what breed is your dog? Andromeda, I think. Being an emotionless alien means that a lot of what you can expect from Deoxys is unknown. It's hard to tell if it will see a lil pup hopping up into its lap as cute or a declaration of violence and respond accordingly. It's extremely smart, but has no idea how Earth life works. It might be a Mewtwo situation where it would see the idea of being kept as insulting and use his psychic powers to remove all your bones.
Yeah.
Then there's all the stuff you have to think if Deoxys even does. Does it eat? Does it sleep? What are you gonna do when your veterinarian asks you, so does your dog breathe?
No. See, you do the SpongeBob meme, right? Where you lay down and you hinge open your legs and arms. Photosynthesis.
A lot of logistical questions to consider while running for your life from the sky itself. Yeah, the big problem with Deoxys that negates any positives is that keeping one puts you on Rayquaza's shit list. As the guardian of Earth, Rayquaza sees an extraterrestrial life form like Deoxys as a threat. And when one coming to Earth is an extinction-level event, it's not like I don't understand. But look, I can make him smoother! Rayquaza might have a noble soul, but if it sees you as a dirty Deoxys sympathizer, it's gonna fuck you up.
So here's the thing, right? So we talk about, and we talked about this going through Team Sky's Omega Ruby video recently, where part of the whole multi-timeline thing, right, or multi-reality thing is well, what if there's a timeline where this meteor does hit and they don't have Mega Evolution? So you're just going to send it to another timeline, right? That was Zinnia's whole thing, right? Thus tying it back to, the original Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, right? We know that Birth Isle has the Deoxys shard on it, right? And it does the whole thing. You have to hit the side closest to the center, and then it does the whole dance thing, and then Deoxys gets summoned. Does that mean that we had the meteor hit? How do we justify Deoxys's existence in Gen 3? Right? Whether it's Fire Red, Leaf Green, Emerald, how do we justify that? Did a meteor hit? Is this a situation like Pokemon Destiny Deoxys, where it was just kind of buried here from long ago? How do we rationalize that? I think that's a really interesting question to consider.
Yeah, start trouble with the one Pokemon banned to anything goes. Tell me what happens.
Oh, wait, what do you mean one Pokemon banned to anything goes? Oh, no, actually, that's incorrect. This was 9 months ago. Zacian and Zacian Crowned are in anything goes, as I understand it, on Smogon. So that's actually not entirely correct.
If it sees you as a dirty Deoxys sympathizer, it's gonna fuck you up. Yeah, start trouble with the one Pokemon banned to anything goes. Tell me what happens. Don't worry, I know how to contact you. Next up is Shedinja. Now, if you wanted to show somebody your pet and then reached into your pocket and pulled out some discarded cicada skin, they'd probably call you weird. Luckily, by the time you show them Shedinja, they're already dead. Shedinja is a unique Pokemon when it comes to evolution, evolving from Nincada if you have a spare Pokeball and Team Slot when it evolves into Ninjask, as it's actually the molted skin of Nincada's real evolution. It might be a knock against Ninjask that it has enough darkness in its heart to conjure up whatever the hell Shedinja is. Shedinja is not alive. Sounds pretty typical of ghost types, but I mean it doesn't do anything. It has no organs, it doesn't breathe, it doesn't move, it just floats up and down, immune to all damage unless super effective. It's not like a Gengar or Mischievous. Those are at least active and doing things, like murder. Shedinja is more a balloon than a pet. You could say that makes him an ease of care masterclass, since you literally don't need to do a thing to support him, but in reality, keeping one of these things is a massive hazard.
I mean, it's also really interesting because you can miss it, right? You can miss Shedinja every single evolution. You could actually have played Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald since release, and you could technically have never found it, because isn't it you have to have a Pokeball in your bag, and you have to have an empty slot in your party because the discarded cicada shell becomes Shedinja and it becomes a 6th slot in your party, or whatever your extra slot in your party is, right? I mean, I love it. It's so cool. It's a pet rock that can kill this kind of. Actually, that's actually a good question. What happens if you transfer a Shedinja? What if you transfer, not Shedinja, if you transfer a Nincada to something like Fire Red, Leaf Green, and or Pokemon Coliseum and XD Gale of Darkness, and you level them up? Would it still evolve in those games? I'm assuming it would. I'm assuming I'm assuming it would still evolve, right? Surely, because you're still meeting the requirements if you have the empty slot in the Pokeball, right? I might have to test this. I'm actually curious now how good Ninjask is too. I used one Sword and Shield because I found one that had a Wild Area. Dude, it gets speed boost. Like, what do you want? Speed boost and like X Scissor? Like, this thing is disgusting and I love it. It's so cool.
There's a legend that peering into the hole on the back of a Shedinja that Ninjask emerged from will steal your soul. What's funny, though, is that you don't even need to count that against Shedinja's behavior, because it's not like he did it on purpose.
Yeah.
You drop dead after having your soul ripped out, and it's just gonna be floating there. None the wiser, since it can't even think, and just waiting to be turned in as evidence when the police find your body. Moving on to 5, and if you think the extra point is helping any of these guys, let their first pick assure you that it won't. So, ever wanted to beat up a child? Bayonet is another ghost type like Shedinja, and unfortunately this one actually does stuff, and is barely less dangerous to boot. Now, getting a Bayonet is really easy. Stop by the local dumpster, listen for the angriest one, fish around for a bit, and you have a dog. Bayonet is the spirit of a discarded toy that manifested its anger over being thrown away into a new body, and now subsists on the dream of getting revenge on the child who threw it away. So, my dog has a grudge. Its grudge is so all-consuming that the only way you can connect with it is by being its informant. Dox the kid who threw it away, and maybe Bayonet will like you. Except getting Bayonet to like you actually isn't that good a thing, as Bayonets treated well enough will actually lose their grudge and turn back into the discarded toy they were originally.
So it's kind of like a self-actualization, like Naruto Edo Tensei thing, right? Because remember how like Kabuto, right? Like he Edo Tensei, resurrected a bunch of shinobi, and like what was it, like Sasori, I think, was one of them that ended up having his self-actualization moment with Kankuro using his body, right? And he had a self-actualization moment and was just like, my purpose is done. My purpose is I am done. I am at peace. And then he just like he just breaks the Edo Tensei and just like ascends back, right? So it's kind of like that. Okay, it kind of exercises itself because the grudge, the emotions that were keeping it tethered have been resolved. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, I'm making it, Naruto and weird because I'm not weird, but I'm being super nerdy by comparing it to Naruto. But I mean, like, in terms of like, supernatural, paranormal, whatever, right? Like the extreme, especially for like Japanese culture, as I understand it, the extreme emotions that would be a tether have thus kind of been severed. Therefore, the thing kind of ceases to exist in the afterlife state that it is. It makes sense.
So if I'm too nice to my dog, he dies. Great, really goes along with his hobbies of at-home acupuncture he uses for voodoo curses. So Viper's up next, and I'm starting to think there's something in all that water.
So I don't know enough about it. We'll rewind a bit for Viper. There is a difference between voodoo and hoodoo. I am not in any way, shape, or form read up on it. I know that there's a difference, and I think that's one of those that, like, when somebody says one thing, they might mean the other, because there is a difference, but it's not often talked about. But just something I wanted to bring up because it actually is like, it's a big conversation point, but I'm not the one to have that conversation because I don't actually know the difference, if I'm being honest. Yeah. Thing exists. I'm not the expert at the thing.
So Viper's up next, and I'm starting to think there's something in all that water because Hoenn is the generation of grudge matches. Rayquaza and Deoxys, Bayonet and a 5-year-old, and now one half of the main event, Viper versus Zangoose.
Yeah, Zangoose, not Zigzagoon.
Based on the real-life hatred of snakes and mongooses, the side with the venom was always going to have no legs to stand on, and that's before you realize it's a snake. What really kills Viper, though, is that it's not even an interesting snake. Arbok at least has a pattern to look at.
Bro, what do you mean? He has a bladed tail. So Viper is so cool. He just doesn't really do anything.
Anaconda can get bigger. Onyx is big by default. Every other snake has way more going on than Viper does.
Battle Pike Lucy is also based off of this. Think about that. Or don't. I mean, I'm not your dad. Think about what you want.
Oh, it's the Fang Snake Pokemon? I got really bad news about what most snakes have, too. Yeah, I mean, it's poisonous and has a sword for a tail, but if I'm being honest, he's a snooze fest of a snake.
looking at his face, and I'm like, this snake exists in a constant state of pain.
All the danger, but nothing really cool about it. Mighty Enna comes next, and despite being slightly more dog-shaped than Bayonet and Seviper, he's no less cruel and aggressive. The first time you see one, it's running Professor Birch ragged and trying to attack him. I can't wait for this to get bigger. Mighty Ennas are pack hunters, often surrounded by weaker members of their pack, including the younger Poochienas, and if you know anything about African wild dogs, those are actually the worst ones. Mighty Ennas are quick to anger, ferocious attackers who never give up on a hunt once it starts. If Mighty Enna sees you as food, you're gonna be food. Whether it or exhaustion gets you first is really up to you. The only way to tame a Mighty Enna is to prove that you're a superior level of trainer and show that you're worthy of being its master.
Or alternatively, be part of the best Hoenn evil team, Team Sky.
You evolve at level 18! I have my first gym badge! Obey me, you dumb dog! I apologize. You know what? I apologize. I spoke out of turn. That was very rude of me. I apologize. And now on to something a little less high maintenance. The Earth. Groudon is next,
makes sense.
And I'd be confused if you expected this to be easy. Before this generation, legendary Pokemon were just really strong Pokemon. I think the Earth would keep spinning with or without Zapdos. Hoenn was the start of legendary.
I mean, yeah, like when you think about it, yeah. I don't know, because like, I could see that argument being the case for Kanto, right? With like Mewtwo and Mew. Well, Mew is kind of like the like progenitor, right? Of all Pokemon. So we also had like Ho-Oh from last generation, right? From Gen 2, that was kind of like, I guess it embodies a phoenix, right? Resurrection, life, right? Lugia, I guess you could argue Guardian of the Sea because of, you know, the movie Pokemon 2000, but I don't know if we consider that canon or not, right? Like, I think it's an escalation, but not as escalated as I think people would initially think from Gen 2. But I could definitely see this being an argument. Like I could, like Zapdos specifically, but that's also not like Groudon's like the box art legendary, right? So reasonably, you would compare that to like Ho-Oh or Lugia, right? Or I mean Mewtwo and Mew if they were actually the box art of, you know, red, green, or like red and blue, right? Or yellow, right? Which they're not. It's the starters. So yeah, I think Gen 2 would kind of be the progenitor of this, right? Of the box art legendaries being this like absolute legendary force, right? All but in kind of more of a like esoteric way, I'd argue, right?
Earth would keep spinning with or without Zapdos. Hoenn was the start of legendaries being embodiments of concepts and worldly forces. Groudon in this case being in charge of the Earth, contrasting Kyogre's control of water. The first box legendary to be weak to his accompanying legendary, it's obvious that would give him a chip on his shoulder.
Wait, isn't Ho-Oh fire? Oh, once again, nope, yep, Lugia's not water type. Lugia itself is not strong against Ho-Oh. However, its moveset can make it strong against Ho-Oh.
But he keeps up Hoenn's underlying theme of everybody having a fucking problem.
Yeah.
If you keep Groudon, he's already not good. Thing's massive and used to living in deep underground caverns. I mean, I can move some boxes around in the basement, but I don't think that's gonna help. The very best thing we got going on here is that if Groudon isn't aggroed, he's said to be helpful. But if he is aggroed, you're responsible for a full ecological reset. Him and Kyogre are locked in an eternal rivalry as one tries to destroy the other and claim the territory they've claimed for themselves.
I think it's actually super interesting. So we're going to break up 71% of Earth's water. Surface is water covered. And oceans hold about 90% of all the worst water. I mean, Earth used to be a water world, did it not, at one point in time? Like, it used to be covered in oceans. And thus, you know, land came about eventually, you know, volcanic activity, etc. I also think it's interesting, the point I was going to actually bring up, I think it's really interesting when we consider... what do you call it? Going into Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, how Kyogre has the definitive advantage against Groudon, but Groudon's ability actually just shuts out Kyogre altogether. Like, it was really cool to watch that dynamic swap.
I mean, if I was losing this bad, I'd be pissed off too. It takes Rayquaza to put them back in their place, but depending on your choices, that might not even be enough.
Cease your fighting and return to your slumber, great... Wait. Hey, wait a minute! You're that asshole with the Deoxys! You bitch!
Speaking of Kyogre, the guy keeping the rent low in the ocean is up next, Sharpedo. Now, Jaws might have done a lot to hurt the public opinion on sharks, but don't give it all the credit, Sharpedo's working hard too. This is a ravenous sea beast, sporting nicknames like the Bully of the Sea, Ruffian of the Sea, Bandit of the Sea, and Gangster of the Sea. Wait, those sound...
This makes me just want to like see a bunch of Honchkrow and Murchkrow get into a turf match on around some island with like Sharpedo and Carvana, right? Like maybe there's an interaction where like they're trying to claim territory around some sort of beach. It'd be really interesting to watch that fight play out.
Bandit of the Sea and Gangster of the Sea. Wait, those sound fucking badass. I want one now. Topping out at a swim speed of 75 miles per hour and sporting a mouthful of never-ending daggers it calls teeth, Sharpedo's ferocity is so great it could easily tear chunks out of anything that drifts too close. If you're small enough, it'd probably swallow you whole, since it's every inch of 6 feet long. If you want to try and keep Sharpedo happy, you're gonna need a lot of water and a lot of fish you do not care about.
Yeah.
Wingull might make the worst mistake of its life and rest in his waters, but otherwise you're responsible for getting an absurd amount of meat to satisfy its hunger. And of course it's not like it's gonna be thankful, it'll just try adding your arm to the meal. And since they haven't come up yet, it's only natural Alola butts in to try to explain why they're like this and make the problem worse.
I love
In
Alola
Alola,
decks.
Sharpedos were made victims of overfishing to harvest their fins for different meals, and their teeth turned into trinkets sold to tourists.
Isn't shark fin soup actually like really questionable in terms of ethics because of how shark fins are harvested? I mean, once again, I feel that's kind of a little bit outside my expertise to really talk about in one way, shape, or form. Like, I remember hearing something about shark fin soup and the ethics surrounding it.
This makes Alolan Sharpedos the deadliest of all, thanks to generational victimization. You ever wonder why we never domesticated zebras? That's
Once.
because they have generational victimization so strong that they'll kill anything that tries to get close to them.
Amazing.
Because most things that get close to them try to eat them.
Yeah.
Now replace zebras with great white sharks. And as if the Alolan embarrassment couldn't get any worse, they turned Sharpedo into a premier ride Pokemon.
Yeah, they turned it into the battering ram.
Using it to ram into hard rocks and crack them.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so it's not nice that they'll sink cruise ships full of people, but when an Alolan Sharpedo does it... Like, I get it. 6 is up next. Fuck 6. 7 is up next. To make all things fair,
Or 6.
and by fair I mean entirely unfair, it's time to cover the other box legendary of Gen 3, Kyogre.
Man, that's one giant goldfish. It's a real big sea king.
Now, a lot of what goes for Groudon
The eye.
goes for Kyogre. I mean, the two are both helpful creatures that you're completely ill-equipped to care for, that have the chance to destroy the world if they get the wrong look from the other. It's not really fair to Groudon that he has to be lower by virtue of ground being lower rated than water, but if I stopped counting types now, I'd have a lot of apology notes to write. Picking between Kyogre and Groudon is like asking which apocalypse sounds better. And, I mean, it's not like Noah's ship sunk during the flood, there's precedent.
Look, all I'm saying, Apocalypse via Magma Storm is honestly a lot cooler than Apocalypse by just Eternal Rain. All I'm saying.
You know what? Here's how we worm our way out of this one. Kyogre gets to be higher because it matches the Great Ball.
Yeah, that makes
Torkoal-
sense. Based Great Ball Enjoyer. I use Great Balls on everything. I run through those things, especially when I'm trying to catch legendaries. I love Great Balls.
He's
Hi,
great. I
Torkoal.
like him a lot. He's orange. I think Smog's been a bit
think?
thicker than usual. Torkoal is a walking combustion engine, taking in fuel and releasing clouds of smoke and smog as he meanders around the place. This rules out keeping him inside, unless you use the sound of a carbon monoxide alarm going off as white noise. Getting the official Torkoal care guide, too, lets you know that Torkoal's inner engine is all that's keeping him alive. So if it starts to dwindle, you need to shower him in flammable objects to keep him alive. Imagine Charmander's tail, except it was actively going out all the time.
I'm just imagining, you need to throw some kindling, wood, WD-40, something flammable on him.
That does mean that there might be a chance to revive him if you restart the fire soon after it goes out. Just keep some kerosene in the first aid kit, it'll be fine. What drags Torkoal kicking and screaming to a 7, though, is that beyond most aspects about him, he has the mood of a great pet. Torkoal, because you can access his life support system through a giant hole in his back, is terrified of everything, and prefers to stay at home and lounge. Of course, you don't want to keep him too happy, because the way Torkoal shows it's happy is by bellowing more smoke. So hit him with a few personal insults every once in a while so he doesn't get too used to you.
No. I promise. I love him. This is how I show my love. I'm calling him a piece of filth that nobody will ever love because I love him. Oh, that's funny.
Next up might trick you into thinking it's worth it, but trust me, it's not. Jirachi is the wish-granting Pokemon, which sounds like the perfect deal. You get a wish-granting little fairy to make all your dreams come true. It's small, cute, easy to house, great attitude, top-class pet. And then the week-long free trial ends and you're out in the cold for the next millennium.
Makes sense, yeah.
See, Jirachi is a wish-granting miracle worker for 1 week every 1,000 years.
So if you're playing a game, like let's hypothetically say I took my copy of Coliseum bonus disc right now and got a Jirachi onto my Ruby, or let's say I don't know, I go to BDSP and redeem my Jirachi, and I use that thing for weeks on end. Does it prorate? Like if it's a week per millennium, and I use this thing for say 10 weeks in a row, and then before turning off my Switch or something, does that mean like he goes to sleep for like 10 millennia? How does this work? Does he just sandbag sleep time like PTO? Is that how that works?
In between then, it's encased in a thick crystal cocoon that can only be opened by pure-hearted singing.
And this is what we actually see during the events of Jirachi Wishmaker, the movie.
Belt a few tunes right now and ask yourself if they sound pure-hearted.
No,
so now you own a giant chunk of potentially wish-granting junk. Already a giant downgrade, except you know who else would want something like that? Everyone!
Yeah.
You're gonna be under constant attack from people trying to take Jirachi. They don't even know it stinks, only you do. Jirachi isn't even a real wish granter. In his associated movie, he only has the ability to teleport stuff to you and calls that wish granting. He's a little fraud! Next up is Huntail and Gorobus, the hottest Pokemon in Hoenn. The two evolutions of Clamperl, the duo do about the same in every regard.
I keep forgetting about Gorobus. I keep forgetting the clamshells on it. It's such a silly design.
And no thanks to their dex entries being extremely copy-paste without any supplementary material to really flesh it out. Almost all their dex entries are about their eating habits. And while Huntail has the decency to just gobble up unsuspecting fish like a normal weird fucker, Gorobus insists on drinking its victims with its proboscis. Now, obviously, nature is what nature is. Things have to eat, and it's not an uncommon way for some fish to feed. If you have the choice, though, are you really going to want to clean up dead, shriveled up wishy-washy out of her tank every day when she refuses to eat them? The two lack much defining personality, either in the positive or negative. They're kinda just fish, more so than a lot of other Pokemon. A huge problem, though, is the fact that Gorobus and Huntail are specifically deep-sea fish. Deep-sea biology is based purely around survival, rather than stuff like aesthetic.
Ooh, I was actually watching videos about deep sea gigantism recently. Why do squids become so large? Because, so there's two actual species. They're different. There's the giant squid, and then there's the colossal squid. And they actually exist in like different parts of the world. Like they don't actually really intermix with each other. And even if there was an overlap area, they exist in different layers. Like, you know how like you have like the different layers of the ocean, right? Like, you know, Abyssal Zone, Midnight Zone, Twilight Zone, right? Hydal Zone, which is my favorite personally. That and anything below the Challenger Deep as well. I love the freaky stuff deep down. Oh, it's so cool. But it's so squid are actually kind of in this weird best of both worlds situation when it comes to gigantism, because we not only have deep sea gigantism at work, we also have polar gigantism at work. So they kind of work together to just make giant F-off squids. Very fascinating stuff. I know it sounds boring, dude. I'm so into that. I love science stuff like that. It's so cool. I love biology. And actually, when we get into deep sea gigantism and like why that works is because what larger bodies are able to like, they're able to be like more efficient, right? Especially where in areas where there's like very little food. I don't quite know how Magnapina squid fall into that. It's the T-posing squid if you've seen it, right? A lot of people use it for like deep sea horrors. It's the the squid that's just it's have the green filter because of the light, but it just T-poses, it moves across the screen. I love them. I love Magnapina, but I think it's just we don't know enough about them because they're so deep down. We assume they trail their tentacles as a kind of like, you know, like to kind of catch things below them as they move along the floor, right? But I think Magnapina, I don't know enough about them, but they're super cool. Sorry, I definitely derailed this for squid. I was like, I actually watched a video on several videos on this recently about deep sea gigantism. So yeah, there's your fun rabbit hole about why squids get so large and why certain things work, and also that polar gigantism exists. If you didn't know about that.
That's why Pokemon like Huntail have those big dead eyes. Gorobus being pink means it's just vain. Really though, the problem comes in how deep sea fishes' bodies are built for intense pressures. The depths that Gorobus and Huntail would naturally live in would be around 170 psi. Taking it too far above those depths and removing those pressures would be deadly.
It just explodes.
You ever wonder why the only blobfish you ever see above 1,400 feet are the dead ones?
Yeah.
More than any other knock against them, like their hunting habits or boring nature, the only way you're going to be able to enjoy your pets is if you take the plunge into the depths of the ocean to check in on them. But then you're subjecting yourself to all that pressure, and it's just not worth the hassle.
Yeah.
Lastly, our lowest rated
Exploud.
normal type, maybe ever, Exploud.
Yeah, he is oddly low, but it's probably because of his aggressive temperament, right? And the fact that he just will, like, shatter your windows.
Now, being normal type in this discussion is tantamount to steroids. Having no elemental association is a huge boon, as you're less likely to electrocute somebody to death if you're not electric type. It's not impossible. It's not an easy pass to the top of the list, though, as you still have to try at least a little bit. Which Exploud doesn't. That typing score is all it gets right, as aside from that, it's a massive wall of eardrum-bursting noise. Exploud clocks in with yells loud enough to be heard miles away, and these sounds are so intense they can cause earthquakes. The loudest animal in the real world is the howler monkey, at 140 decibels, audible from over 3 miles away.
Amazing.
Exploud, meanwhile, can be heard from over 6 miles away, meaning it's at least twice as loud as a howler monkey.
I don't know how the math on that works. I was about to say twice, but then again, there are certain thresholds in math where, like, to go further, you need exponentially more energy or exponentially more of something, right? So, like, if you want something to go twice as far, it's, yeah, in certain cases, you can use twice as much fuel. But in other cases, because you're having to accommodate for, like, the additional mass and weight, which, yes, are technically different, additional mass and weight of the fuel, accommodating for things like drag, stuff like that, it's actually, like, there's calculations for that, right? Fascinating stuff that I definitely don't really have the degrees to really do, but I love hearing about these kinds of things.
Minimum 280 decibels. 70 decibels is when sound starts to hurt. 140 is when it can cause hearing loss. 280 and above is when your head starts to explode. Oh, that's where the name
Wonderful.
comes from. On to 8, and we get to knock out 2 of these guys in one fell swoop. The Reggies Rock and Steel.
Ooh.
Some other Pokemon like Deoxys have been hard to read, but at least he has the face. Those familiar with reading Braille might be able to get the vibes these guys are putting out, but
So no, have you guys ever seen the what was it called? It was the Registeel from one of the Sun and Moon set. Registeel Aether Foundation cars. See if it pulls it up. Yeah, this one. Have you ever seen this one? Oh, dude, it's so funny. I know my fat head's hovering. Give me a second. It's from Crimson Invasion. Talking the Ether Foundation employee just casually lecturing the Registeel. Bro, the Pokemon TCG has some winners. That's one of them. Like, oh, dude, it's so funny.
If you're going on sound, the duo are, difficult. The Reggies act a lot less like animals and more like machines.
They're kind of golems,
fitting
right?
in with the theming of being made by Regigigas, but still making them really bad pets. How are they supposed to get anything across if all they do is amble around and make computer noises?
True.
When they put their mind to something, it's usually just to smash it, so I don't know. The duo is on the lower end of the legendary scale in Hoenn. Wait.
I mean, yeah, that's fine.
No, actually, there's only like a few left, so, no, they're actually on the high end. From one duo to the next are the fossil Pokemon.
Ooh, interesting.
And because they skipped in Johto, you might forget the fact that fossils are going to be hit a bit harder due to the fact that they are from a much more primitive age. Pokemon like Kabutops and Aerodactyl come from an era long before training was a thing. So they don't have that ingrained pet quality that a lot of other Pokemon do that makes raising them easy.
Well, I wonder what this presentation is. I think it might just be a news broadcast.
Credilli is up first, and for the extra effort it takes to revive these things, you'd think you'd have put the effort towards getting something that wasn't horrible. An ancient plant resurrected and merged with stone, Credilli satisfies nobody. It's not mobile, and lives on beach sides, so it can catch anything that washes in with the tide. It's a hunter, which means you gotta find places for it to hunt in, and if it runs out of food in a given spot, you have to lug an over 100-pound plant to a new spot so it can find more food.
Okay, so to be fair as well, we talked about this as well in one of his prior videos. We've talked about this a few times as well. Pokeballs kind of just negate mass, right? Like, it seems like a Pokeball that holds a Jumpluff versus a Pokeball that holds an Onix versus a Pokeball that holds a Groudon, right? Weighs the same, right? So it seems like it negates that mass. Obviously, if we're talking about you just living with it, right? Not necessarily with a Pokeball. Yeah, you'd be you lugging just a heavy plant around, right? However, trainers would actually have access to mitigate some of that because they can just keep it in a Pokeball. I don't know. I think that's an interesting viewpoint to really consider of access to Pokeball, yes, no. Partner Pokemon might not be optimal. However, some of this is mitigated by being a trainer specifically, right?
Then you just gotta stand by, as its extendo penises use acid to melt whatever it catches into goop that Credilli, and this is the scientific term, schlorps up.
Amazing.
Now, you're not at a loss for beaches in Hoenn of all places, but still, this is not going to be an easy pet to care for. What?
Gotcha. So Chad actually clarifies, and I actually still need to play this because I heard new Pokemon Snap was actually really good. We see Credilli in the new water level of the new Snap. In the new Snap, it is mobile. It's just bottom heavy and uses water to help it move. I need to see this. I feel like I really need to get that game because I feel like I enjoyed the first Pokemon Snap on the 64. I enjoyed it going to my buddy AJ's house, but man, I need to see this. I need to see a very mobile Credilli. I kind of love this.
Did you resurrect it if you don't have a plan? The second fossil isn't far behind, as it's time for Armaldo.
I love Armaldo.
Now,
he's so cool.
It is a 5-foot-tall bug. Some people are naturally going to be upset by this, but
Nah, dude, he is a 5-foot-tall bug. He's amazing.
those people won't need him when you got Armaldo. Armaldo has that predator instinct that most of the fossil Pokemon have. This thing lived long before kindness was invented, so you're gonna be seeing some stuff you'd rather not see when it goes out to hunt. Now, he is a water hunter, which means he's a lot less likely to slaughter somebody by accident, But given how strong and ornery he can be, it's a lot more likely to be on purpose. Maybe bringing back the first creature to ever walk on land wasn't a good idea? I don't
No, that's heresy. It was an amazing idea.
know. Lastly,
Adapt and evolve or take the L.
is Aggron, Mr. Signature Pokemon himself. Metagross will pay for his crimes because this thing is begging to be Steven's ace Pokemon. But because Hoenn gets 2 pseudos, like a greedy little piggy, Aggron gets nobody who wants to call him their own. It's not like he doesn't have good qualities. Aggron is an incredibly important part of his ecosystem.
Isn't Aggron like actually super good too? Like competitive, he kind of falls off. I know he's a wall specifically in comp, like Smogon, right? But like, just for standard runs and stuff, isn't he actually like really bulky and really effective?
Tilling soil and getting more nutrient-rich dirt to the surface. Especially useful after forest fires to reestablish the local flora. To help even further, it will bring in trees from the surrounding area to help reestablish the environment that just got destroyed. If it was just based on personality, Aggron would be one of the best. Except he's also really strong and covered in sharp metal and eats metal as food and weighs over 700 pounds and is 7 feet tall. Oh, that must be what it is.
Bro, one could say Aggron is in fact metal AF. I'll go sit in my timeout corner.
9 is our last stop before we start considering any of these guys as actual pets. But the barrier for entry is pretty steep. Like how we're starting with the most famous water ground type in Hoenn. He's blue, he lives in swamps, he's in Mr. Who's Den in Pokemon Tarose. That's right! It's Wishcash.
Mr. What?
Don't hold your applause! The man for whom the Wishcash Memorial Most Overshadowed Pokemon Award is named for, which Araquanid is currently polishing above his mantle, Wishcash is a Pokemon most people gloss over, but hey, it's not without reason. Catfish are scary as hell. They'll eat anything. They grow much bigger than you think they can. They're just as electric eels. What the hell is wrong with these guys?
Bro, I love catfish. I was actually really excited going down to Oklahoma because I'm like, bro, I get to go noodling. But I'm also like, it was too cold already. I got really sick when I went to Oklahoma for that concert too. Dude, catfish are so cool. Like, I love them. I adore them. That's actually in the past year, I got a fishing setup. So I have I think I have a 7-foot ugly stick, and then I think I got a 10-foot one as well. But I mean, I was kidding that thing out. Not necessarily go after like sturgeon, but like just the really F off big catfish. And then I tried going, and then I realized the place I went was at the bottom of a canyon. And I don't know if you know this, because most people do, but I apparently forgot about it. Canyons aren't good for reception, so I couldn't exactly go do a catfishing stream. I was a little sad about that. But catfish are cool. I enjoy them. They're such strange creatures.
Wishcash shares a lot of these problems, like its territorial nature, where any uninvited guests get hit with a cannonball made of mud to get them to hit the bricks. That territory as well is swampland, one of the hardest biomes to get around in. And if you think Wishcash is gonna leave its home for you, you clearly don't know how cool mud can be.
Mud is
That
great,
said,
bro.
If you leave it in its swamp, it's going to be completely catered to. It's a self-sufficient hunter, and mud is pretty much the only thing it needs to be satisfied as far as care goes.
Nice.
But claiming you own a pet when you really just visit an animal is not accurate.
No.
At that point, I own the zoo. Metagross is next.
Wasn't Wishcash also was he a reason, or was it just kind of a weird byproduct? There's a banned episode in Hoenn. It didn't air because there was an earthquake around the time in Japan, and thus the episode didn't air because I think Wishcash did actually use the move earthquake in that episode. Fun facts about just the Pokemon anime.
And even though he's Aggron's homewrecker, he's still not exactly pet material. Now, with the intelligence of a supercomputer, that's not saying it's not worth having him around. I personally have a Metagross as my book balancer, and for the past few years, he's been doing great work. However, if you really plan on keeping him on a leash, best to know it's not gonna end well. For starters, this thing is wide. wide enough for multiple people to sit on its head.
It's so
But
cool.
that's just the center. His legs double that width and make it impossible for him to navigate tight corners. Steel types
Very
also
wide
have
boy.
a bad habit of eating steel and other metals as their food, like how grass types eat grass and fighting types eat fight. So keeping a half-ton
fight.
crab well-fed is going to bankrupt you. You think he's not smart enough to know when you're skimping out on the cheap shit? Worse
Oh, absolutely. I mean, doesn't he have like a supercomputer brain or something like that in one of his dex entries?
of all, he's just not nice. Metagross is one of the most brutal Pokemon of them all. Their intelligence increasing to the point they know the best way to win is just beating the opponent to death.
Yeah.
The scary part doesn't come in when Metagross is winning, though. It's when he starts losing and decides to self-destruct to take his opponent out with him. How
I forget he actually learns Explosion or Self-Destruct. One of them. Ooh, AJ Boo's in Gen 3. So that means that's unnerfed Explosion Self-Destruct damage too. That's actually really good to think about. Wouldn't necessarily be helpful in a Nuzlocke, right? I mean, unless it's like you're just sacrificing it anyways. But like, that's actually a really good thing to know.
bad does it have to be for a supercomputer to think its only option left is to kill itself? Anyway, I doubt Metagross factored you into the blast zone, but what are you gonna do about it? Scold him? He's dead! You're dead! Next up is Cacturn, the second grass dark type in Hoenn, because next to Blood Feuds, this was the generation of making a unique type combo and then doing it again. I'm kidding. Quagsire beat both of
love
these
it.
jabronis to the
Zamsire.
punch. So anybody hoping to get anything out of this guy during the day is out of luck. This means he's nocturnal, completely motionless during the day, and waiting for nightfall so it can partake in its hunting ritual. See, Cacturn gathers up the boys, finds a traveler in the desert who's exhausted from the sun, and then beats the shit out of him and then sucks the moisture out of his body. I had a very long argument about whether or not this was premeditated murder. So, traveler doesn't necessarily mean it was a person, but I mean, come on. What else is there in the desert for Cacturn to suck dry? Lunatone? Solrock? Claydol? They don't have any water in their bodies.
No.
Cacturn gets back after a long night, belly full and totally satisfied, and you just have to ignore it. Just don't
Yeah.
think too hard about it. If you
Yeah, just don't think about it.
think too hard about it, that makes you an accomplice. Continuing the
Cacturn is so silly though. I love it. I don't know, just a lot of I mean, even modern Pokemon, a lot of them have charmed. Like, I loved Dracovish, right? Dude, I love dumb fossil fish. That thing was so dumb and competitive too. Bro, that's was it the strong jaw ability? Fishish Rend? Bro, that thing was just so dumb. That thing did numbers. It was so good. There's a lot of modern Pokemon I still like. I mean, it's just even keys. I know people give Klefki and like Garbodor and stuff, you know, a lot of flack. I enjoy them. I don't know. I can find fun in them. I think a lot of them are really, really fun to play with, and just really enjoy the designs.
tradition of taking a perfectly fine Pokemon and ruining it with Dark type, it's Crawdaunt. Crawdaunts are the ultimate survivalists. There's pretty much nowhere they won't live and nothing they won't eat. There's also nothing they won't do to get a place to live and things to eat. Crawdaunt are terrible bullies, often forcing anything in its ecosystem out with constant battles and unending endurance thanks to its outer shell.
Did Crawdaunt get a G-Max? I don't think it did. I know Kingler did. I feel like Crawdaunt got something in the past few generations, but I can't remember. I know it gets adaptability as an ability, which is kind of cool. But like, I vaguely remember Crawdaunt getting some sort of buff. It wasn't a regional variant. I don't think it was any sort of Mega or G-Max. I can't remember what exactly it was. And it's throwing me off because I distinctly remember a reason to run Crawdaunt in like Sun and Moon. Well, or not Sun and Moon, excuse me, Sword and Shield. But then again, people didn't really run it. I think I ran it for adaptability. I don't know. Isn't Corefishes and Crawdonts, doesn't their Pokedex entries allude to like them being not native to Hoenn as well? I know that was the case for like Zigzagoon and stuff, and then we saw Galarian Zigzagoon, Galarian Lanoon, and Obstagoon, right? Like, we got to see those. So we still, I don't think, really have the source region for Corfish and Crawdont, so they could get a really baller regional form inbound if so.
Once the lake or pond or dirty puddle they've claimed as their territory is empty, Crawdaunt gets the run of it to eat whatever's left over. Usually scum and stuff no other Pokemon would dare eat.
Nice.
This ironically makes them easy to care for, but hard to care about. Especially when they take too much damage and lose a claw, where they immediately turn timid and afraid. Imagine Crawdaunt claims your bedroom as his territory, and now you're sleeping on the couch because you're too afraid to tell your dog no. And you wonder why Ash decided to forego an evolution and just keep Corphish? 10 brings us across the threshold where asking for this pet won't end in an immediate no. It's close, you still probably shouldn't, but if you impulse get one, you'd get a concerned look instead of a slap. No better place to start than a big bulging block of bitter ice, Glalie.
Especially if you Mega Evolve your Glalie, where it just like unsnaps its jaw.
Glalie is the condensed regrets and pain of stranded hikers frozen and gathered into an ice ball with a mouth. So now you sleep on the doggy bed? At 5 feet tall, however big you think Glalie is, he is much bigger. Glalie is better for housing than you might assume, since the ice he's made from isn't capable of melting, but still, his size means special housing is required.
I mean, I feel like, yeah, not only the size, but I would assume that, like, you know, never melt ice. And I'm referencing the item here as well, right? I'm assuming that it would retain a lot of its cold, right? So it might actually cool down your apartment or room or whatever, right?
He also has the ability to instantly freeze moisture in the air around him. And to be able to do that, he'd have to be extremely cold, like dangerous to touch cold.
Yeah.
That's exactly how Glalie takes his prey as well. Frozen solid and scarfed down in one go. Again, we're easing into the actual pets. We are not out of the woods yet. Walreign's next, and sure, you know what? You saw a walrus and thought that sounded fun. You live with the consequences. 300 pounds of frozen blubber and dual dagger dentures sounds like it'd be a lot of fun. Walreins are pretty well behaved, seeing as they act as pack leaders for their pre-evolutions, but there's only so much he can do to protect you from himself. One overenthusiastic hug and they'll be scraping you off the floor with a shovel.
I mean, so this actually gives the intro scene from Destiny Deoxys a little bit more terror and context, right? Because I think in the dub he was called Leah, right? I can't remember. I'd have to watch the movie again. Where Deoxys's meteor, right, like spooks all the Walrein and Celio, right? And they end up just absolutely just stampeding to get away, and the kid gets caught in the center of it, right? Like, yeah, that gives a lot more context to that scene.
Listen. His name is Spiel.
Yeah, that's true.
He's ball-shaped, cute. If you're willing to shove a Neverstone down his throat, then you're gonna be much better off.
Bro, he's just the game sphere. He's actually spherical.
Next up is Roselia, a Pokemon who punishes you for trying to enjoy it. Roselia's greatest strength is its size. The thing's only a foot tall, a third of an elf. Give it a pot to sit in and this thing's set. All right, now never go near this pot again because this thing is also a poisoned howitzer. Roselia is extremely protective of, and incredibly proud of, its flowers, grooming and looking after them all the time, and sicking its poisoned thorns on anybody who gets too close. This includes house guests, gardeners, mailmen, and you, because it likes its flowers more than it likes you. Roselia doesn't realize that people are simply trying to admire its flowers and the wonderful scent they give out. If you get too close, though, the poison it uses is described as vicious. That's a strange word to use to describe poison.
I mean, so I can't tell if this is a pun or not because words are hard, right? English is hard. My native language is English, and I can hardly speak it. I'd have to go and read the dex entry because I can't tell if this is supposed to be a pun, and if it's meant to say viscous, or if it actually says vicious. Because I can absolutely see either or applying here. I'm going to default to, okay, yeah, it actually describes it as a vicious poison. but this wouldn't be the first time I'd have to like look at a conversation and like, okay, but what is actually being said here? Like, is it vicious? Is it viscous? Right? When a contractually correct English sentence is what was it? It's Yaldiv? When that's contractually correct, okay? English has issues, okay? Like just bro, English. I hate English. English is hard. English doesn't make sense. I prefer except after C except for like 400 examples. That's literally not a rule. That's just some weird exception that works half the time.
I mean, it's evocative. After all that, it even demands fresh spring water to maintain its flowers. Sorry, Roselia, I can't do that. I stopped breathing a few minutes ago. 11 comes next, if you didn't know, and we're starting with another normal type who's resting on his laurels. In fact, he's been resting on them so long, his laurels have gone numb. Slacking mirrors much of human life, starting as young and lazy without a care in the world, getting extremely invigorated in the middle, and then getting lazy again towards the end. Slacking's strength is legendarily high, more than enough to snap trees with a lazy backhand, and most spines aren't as thick as branches, let alone the whole tree. So if slacking wants you dead, you're dead. All that's really keeping you alive is that slacking doesn't see a fight as worth the effort. Slacking couldn't care less if something non-fatal was bothering it, letting the world pass it by as it reaches down, grabs a clump full of grass, and chews it for hours. So despite being so dangerous, you're not really in danger.
That's actually terrifying to watch that slacking just run. It kind of reminds me of Donkey Kong a bit.
The real danger comes when you run out of food and have to try rolling it to a new patch of grass for it to eat. But hey, maybe it'll tucker itself out while it's chasing you and lie down until you can get to safety. That's the beauty of Truant. Next is a Pokemon I have a lot of sentimental attachment to.
I like Shiftry.
Shiftry.
I like Shiftry's design. I think it's really cool.
See, Shiftry is the final evolution of Seedot, and this was my favorite Pokemon as a kid. An acorn with eyes, really shooting for the stars there. I would borrow my brother's Hoenn game and restart it over and over, without ever erasing his save, and just keep trying to find Seedot. I did it so many times, and every time I could never find him. So, even today, I still really care about this Pokemon.
I think that's why a lot of us like videos like this, because especially if you're, someone who didn't necessarily live in an area where Pokemon was popular, or you lived in a area where maybe it was popular, but maybe, you weren't in with the popular kids, right? Or you just were the only person among your friend group who even played it, right? Like, everyone has their own story. Everyone has their own experiences. And I think it's really cool to hear about experiences like this, right? It's like I don't know. I'd have to pull several up, right? I think I've talked about. I used to have a friend E. Him and I played Battle Revolution, and he refused to play Pokemon after that point. EE kind of had some gamer rage isms. He definitely had some of those. But like I know it was Feraligatr versus his Kyogre in a Battle Revolution double battle. I ice beamed his Kyogre and froze it for like 2 or 3 turns straight. And then and then I just get the notification that like Wii Online has been disconnected, like the match was DC'd. I think he actually turned off his system. But stuff like that, I think, is what really attracts people, or like hearing like maybe M&J TV's experiences, right? I think that is a big draw to a lot of this because we lived in the Pokemon culture in the era, right? And people still do. I'm not saying they don't. But I think that the experiences we all have are definitely additive of the medium in videos like this.
Now, the reason I couldn't find it was because he had Sapphire. I make up for it with my dashing good looks.
Yeah.
Back to Shiftry, though, and while that big white mane might leave a lot of hair, he can still fit decently into a normal home. Though, as a grass type, it's more likely he'd prefer his home turf, which means he shouldn't be too high maintenance. Shiftry is still a dangerous Pokemon if not cared for correctly, though, with fans able to kick up winds that level houses, and precognition that lets it know what you do before you do it.
I love it.
It's hard to feel totally safe with a power like that.
You know when your pet gives you a very judging look, and then you look back at them like, why are you judging me? And then they just continue to judge you? That has a whole new meaning with Shiftry.
If it helps the decision, it was said that Shiftry is the descendant of a bird Pokemon so evil that it was stripped of its wings and forced to walk the earth instead.
Amazing.
Shiftry is on the more reasonable end of the dark types in this region, and might not be too bad so long as you live a more traditional life focused on traditions.
Okay, I could see that. I also like that the Tengu at design is just so relevant, right? I mean, as somebody who loves the Susanoo from Naruto, right? Like, you can definitely see the Tengu-isms.
Somewhere in Kitakama is perfect for raising a Shiftry. 12 is next, and who better to lead the pack than Mr. Never Getting a Mega Evolution, just get over it, guys, Flygon!
Oh, dude. Z to A, and then the Z to A DLC. There were 2 opportunities to make that happen. And dude just got absolutely sleazed out of a Mega. I'm so sad. I'm so sad. I can't complain because we did get my boy Golisopod, okay? We got the Droidica. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Flygon is another desert dweller, and like Cacturn, its most important goal in life is just finding where its next meal is going to be. See, he had it easy as Trapinch. Dig a hole, open mouth, try to swallow whatever falls in. Now he's got to work a lot harder, but he never really changed his tactics. See, instead of trapping his opponent in a hole, he decided to become the trap, as his wing beats gather sand and create sandstorms every time he flies.
Actually, this feeds into the Trapinch, like, because Trapinch being baby Flygons, right? Feeds into that loop as well, because, you know, then people get lost in the sandstorm. Maybe they fall down a Trapinch hole, right? I mean, I like it. I like how the different stages feed into each other, like, from a survival standpoint.
While this will mask his flights and make him popular with Excadrills, it's going to be a nightmare if every time he does his namesake, Fly, you're gonna get cut up in a sandstorm. That said, he isn't poorly behaved or anything, and in fact, is the first case of a Pokemon in Hoenn making a friend. Flygon has a symbiotic relationship with Crocodile.
Oh.
Flygon will kick up a storm to cloak Crocodile so he can go in for an ambush.
You know, the dark type that has the burglar glasses.
Once the prey is dead, the pair share their haul and move on to sandier pastures. Now, any Pokemon that can make a friend automatically gets higher, but I will say it doesn't reflect well on him when Flygon's first contact in his phone is a crook. Next is Illumise and Volbeat. Who cares? Next is Mawile. Okay.
Illumise and Volbeat. Nobody cares. Next. No. Fair and reasonable.
So I know we all want to talk about the fact Mawile's footprint changed between generations.
Oh, did it?
I also want to talk about the
What, did it? What?
The fact Mawile's footprint changed between generations.
So the first one looks more like, I don't know. It looks like a like, you know how, like, if you left like a shoe print, it looks like that, but kind of like simplified and dialed down. The Generation 4 games kind of remind me of the darkness energy type symbol from Pokemon, the Pokemon TCG, right? From Pokemon, we're talking about Pokemon. Yeah, from the Pokemon TCG, the darkness symbol. Why did it change? Why? For what?
But I also want to talk about the giant mouth on the back of its head.
So hold up. If we look at the actual like footprint, like look at Mawile's actual feet here. How they're more, they literally in the design look more oval. Why do we go more circular? Bro, this is like a what Milotic is like. Milotic's main color is pink, M&J TV status, right? Where you go through the Pokedex home, Pokedex sort by color. Bro, that doesn't even make sense. That's not how shapes work.
Changed between generations, but I also want to talk about the giant mouth on the back of its head. This is Mawile's defining feature, and you'll excuse me if I focus on them for a bit. With a bite force strong enough to snap iron, and a size bigger than Mawile's main body, the question of how dangerous these are should be at the front of your mind. It's not unpredictable, it's not like a separate being, it's totally under Mawile's control, and Mawile doesn't seem like the type to use it maliciously.
There's a footprint minigame in Mystery Dungeon Gen 4. I wonder if that a part in it. Maybe. It's possible.
It'll use its disarming appearance to lure in prey to snatch it up, But chances are Mawile will recognize you're too big and not even try. Now a child?
Yeah.
No, fairy type. In fact, that back mouth is a lot more garbage disposal than anything.
Okay, so defensive fairy type, it can do no wrong. I mean, do we forget that like the Fae just steal people's bones? Like, did we just forget that? Something, don't make deal with the Fae? Did we just forget this? Did we collectively just forget that? Oh.
Able to eat anything Mawile doesn't like without any taste buds to really care. Mawile might be tough if you keep any other pets, but it won't be as hard to break in as others.
Mm-hmm.
Next is Ninjask.
I love Ninjask.
Dr. Speed. I had hoped that after shedding his evils and making Shedinja that he would have been able to get higher, but hey, 12 ain't bad. I can think of at least 11 worse numbers. Ninjask is entirely speed-focused. No need to worry about defenses if you're never getting hit in the first place. Despite being a ninja, he clearly doesn't care much about stealth, as he's a cicada, a bug famous for being extremely loud and obnoxious, a tradition Ninjask has no intention of breaking. Also, in the real world, cicadas make that noise because they're looking for a mate.
Nice.
Ninjask is the horniest Pokemon in Hoenn.
Yeah, actually. No, I see that argument. No, I have no counter. No, that just makes sense.
Mixed with that is Ninjask's surprising clumsiness. When flying, it has difficulty with sharp turns and will often crash into stuff. So imagine the trouble it'd have in your kitchen.
It's just a Formula 1 bug.
Crashing into walls, knocking over dishes, screaming the whole time. Who are you sneaking up on? Again, it's not bad. It doesn't take up much space, it's totally sufficient in getting its own sap for food. If you want one, just invest in earplugs. Finally, it's time for Dustox's better half with Beautifly. And this thing should be a layup. Beautifly is a lot like Butterfree, who didn't do half bad for itself with a 16,
look at the shiny.
And a lot of the same stuff applies to Beautifly.
Ooh, shiny. Double shiny.
It's gorgeous, easy to care for, easy to house. Where's the problem? Well, how do I say this?
The butterfly.
Beautifly's a jerk. This is not a nice Pokemon. Beautifly is shockingly aggressive for that base stat total. That proboscis is used the exact same way as Gorobus uses it, sucking dry any enemies it comes across.
Yeah, it's actually why we reacted when we reacted to the Casual Geographic video on what do you call it? Well, when we had the sorry, I had to deal with thing in chat. We had the cicada episode, not cicada, excuse me, butterfly episode of Casual Geographic. Just butterflies are just metal AF, dude. Like they're terrifying.
And while they're usually flowers, it can still jab at anybody it wants to and take away their food. Several dex entries describe it as greedy, savage, and aggressive.
That's
and
butterfly.
Just getting too close to it when it's eating can get it angry. I'm saying this thing bites me, I'm punching it so hard its body flies back, but its wings stay where they are. Blaziken is up next, and it's always sad to be the first starter up, but he could be doing a lot worse. Remember, Charizard and Feraligatr exist. As a martial artist, he has a level of discipline that lets him keep his flames under control. But unlike a Hariyama or a Medicham, there's no real telling what his style is supposed to be. It's kinda just punches and kicks. Blaziken's also good for only producing flames when in combat, which it will be discerning about. The tougher the opponent, the hotter the flame. He's not igniting during a sparring match or anything. The only issue, like with a lot of fighting types, is that you're going to have to portion out your pet's meals like he was a pro fighter to keep his muscle up.
Bro, you gotta get that muscle milk. You gotta get those gains, okay? We're talking actual, like, eggs, crack eggs into glass and drink, right? Don't do that. That's how you get salmonella. Also, the price of eggs, bro. Trying to have that kind of, like, diet, that would be bankrupting.
Not easy to manage, but if you can, he's not bad. Finally is Pelipper for the 12s, and The deck says its mouth is big enough to fit a child.
Nice.
Why do I need to know that?
Wasn't there a Pikachu in one of these? No, I'm thinking of Cramorant. Maybe there was like a Pokemon TCG like artwork of a Pikachu or something, or like a Wishy-Washy and a Pelipper mouth. I don't remember. I feel like I vaguely remember there being an art.
How do you know that?
Don't worry
Did you
about it.
test this?
Probably.
Did you see it?
Maybe.
How do you know a child can fit in Pelipper's bill? I've
Do not ask questions you're not ready for the answer.
seen pelicans in the real world. They'll eat anything they think has a pulse just so they can feel it stop. Vile creatures. What's stopping Pelipper from doing that? Sometimes it carries small Pokemon to safety. Other times it just leaves with them and never comes back. What are you gonna do? Catch him? He swallows them whole. Yeah, he's fine and everything else. He's whatever, doesn't matter. Why did you say he can eat a kid?
So hear me out, right? Do we know what happens if a Pokeball hits a human, or is it strictly Pokemon? So if Pokeballs cannot catch humans, what happens on that understanding? We just flat like set the bar, right? That understanding that Pokeball cannot catch a human. Does that mean if a Pelipper has a child in its mouth, does that mean that if you throw a Pokeball at it, would it fail? Would it attempt to catch? Would that mean that a human did go inside of a Pokeball? How would that work? What are the mechanics? What's the world interaction of this? I think science might have an answer for this. Well, let's ask the science guy. You know, the guy in the first town in every single game. Science is amazing. I wonder if he knows.
13 starts out with a Pokemon who seems unassuming at first, but can be a real pain in the wrong scenarios.
Grumpig?
Nosepass shares a lot with other rock types like Sudowoodo. It pretty much just a statue with charisma. Nosepass is moving at a speedy 5 centimeters a year unless prompted, but prompting him too loud might spook him.
Bro, he got that Riz though.
Causing him to spin into the ground like a drill. Won't he be surprised when he finds out what a basement is? Nosepass also emits intense electromagnetic waves that allow it to act as a compass. If you're the hiking type, this makes him an excellent partner, since you'll always be able to find your way back home. If your house has electronics in it, you might find some problems.
Yeah.
To demonstrate what I mean, I'll be holding this high-power neodymium magnet up to my computer. Manectric is next, and there's something about dog-shaped Pokemon that actually makes them harder to talk about than non-dog-shaped Pokemon. Like, yeah, it's definitely a dog. No
That is most certainly and dog. You would be correct.
debate in that. Housing it will be as easy as housing a real dog, offset from a better score by being charged with an absurd amount of electricity. Its mane lets off a constant electric charge that will short-circuit machinery and even shock you if you try petting him. A dog you can't pet. What's the point? That said, its ability to absorb and heal itself with electricity makes it a great pet for the easygoing pet owner. Sends a few batteries, and he's back to 100%. It's also one of the few Pokemon you wouldn't want to Mega Evolve just so he wouldn't be made fun of. Look at this big fucking idiot. Next
I do
is
love it.
Grumpig. I abstain on the grounds of him not being Spoink. Grumpig is one of those Pokemon that just don't really have a lot to talk about. It's not really notable in any regard. Most you can say is that he relies on hypnosis and fights. Unlike a Hypno, though, he prefers to keep his hypnosis professional and only uses it in combat. Really, all I gotta work with here is that Grumpig's psychic dance that it uses to attack became a dance trend in other regions.
Oh, did it?
So, if you want a dog who invented the dab, I guess get a pig. Teacup spoinks are a myth! Next up is the head honcho of the legendary trio of Hoenn, Rayquaza. Delete is appropriate.
Yeah.
Now, most legendaries to this point have kind of just been pricks. Mewtwo, test tube baby whose glass was tapped on for the last time. Groudon and Kyogre, toddlers throwing dirt and water at each other. Entei, you know what you did, so having adults like Ho-Oh and Rayquaza is appreciated. Rayquaza has taken up the role of Earth's protector, fighting to protect humanity from threats on Earth and from the stars. And this guardian status means his temperament is second to none. While owning the protector of the entire planet sounds like a sweet deal, it means one of two things. Either Rayquaza is constantly busy and has no time for you, or worse, he'll bring you along for his 5th fist fight with Deoxys this week. You either get to live a life of adventure or get nothing. Make your choice. When you
It makes me all the more happy that I nicknamed Rayquaza as Xenos at this point from Final Fantasy XIV. It just makes sense. It just makes sense.
can wield it, though, I mean, Mega Rayquaza is the strongest Pokemon, so feel free to abuse that. Lastiost is Latias, and hey, if I can knock Entei for trying to be Ash's dad, I can knock Latias for trying to be Ash's wife. Why'd you kiss that kid, you freak? You're a freak! 14.
To be fair, it is still ambiguous. Like, it very much points to it being Latias, but it is still kind of ambiguous. I mean, it's ambiguous on purpose, and I doubt we would ever see any sort of like follow-up on it, right? Like, we wouldn't ever really see follow-up. I mean, the Rayquaza section makes a lot of sense. I mean, Rayquaza has to like have all of that space, right? Like, it's yeah, it's also aggressive by nature, right? Because, you know, it kind of has to be. Its temperament is definitely one of those things that like definitely would lead to it being a little problematic to be around and have as a pet, right? Definitely something that you're just like, yeah, that's cool. This thing can be pretty free. That's pretty cool, I think, right?
Is next, and with it comes the next starter for the region, Swampert. Now, I know, who needs Swampert? We have the sexual dynamite of Wishcash!
This is true.
I guess they felt like taking a second swing at it, though? Swampert on the outside seems like a pretty bad pet, thanks to all of the features it shares with Wishcash. Stronger than it has any right to be, lives in a swamp. What's the positives? Well, a big positive is that, like Wishcash, it's easy to care for, as the most it needs to be happy is to stay wet. Blast the hose in the backyard and make a mud puddle and he'll be happy. What's more is that getting a Swampert is like getting insurance for your home in case of natural disasters. Swampert is very sensitive to storm conditions and will fortify its territory to weather anything. That means he's willing to give back. As far as starters go, not bad at all.
I mean, he'd be really cool to have, right? I mean, being water and ground type, I mean, has its advantages, right? I mean, if you're in a floodplain or somewhere that floods, I mean, especially because his Mega gets Swift Swim, right? He's a pretty fast swimmer regardless, right? You have your own form of transportation. I mean, if you go out to a river, lake, ocean, I mean, you have the ability to surf, dive, etc. Using HMs in game. Yeah, I'm sure if you needed some soil tilled or if you needed some help or, you know, in the garden or with the landscape, right? Rather than, guy in Vermilion City using a Machop or Machop or Machoke, right? To tamp the land flat for whatever he's building. I mean, he's been building it for 30 years at this point. We don't know what he's building. You have something that can literally use like Earthquake, Dig, etc., right? So, I mean, I feel it very much could be a workhorse like partner kind of thing, right? Like partner as in like, you know, you're using it for like tilling land, soil, etc., right? Like kind of like a coworker rather than an actual pet. But even as a pet, I think it'd be fairly fine too.
Rising from the depths is our next pet, Relicanth. And
fish.
if you're worried about it exploding like Gorbis and Huntail, no worries. That rock typing means its hard outer shell handles the pressure and allows it to survive at higher depths of water.
Amazing.
Relicanth subscribes to the less is more ideology. Barely doing anything, but doing it with so much charm that it's hard to hate him. Watch.
I love it.
Wasn't that awesome?
So
Relicanth isn't up to much, and its need to be in dark, cold water to mimic the ocean depths means it's not going to be the easiest to house or care for.
Isn't that actually a thing with actual coelacanths, like IRL? Like they haven't been domesticated, and or it's very hard to domesticate them. Allegedly, they only really exist in the wild. It's events to try to breed them in captivity just haven't worked out. I mean, if I remember correctly, actually discovering the coelacanth in modernity was actually its own wild sequence of events. I guess it was posited the fins underneath it. I guess it was posited to use them to like walk on the ocean floor. Like there was a whole sequence of events in regards to the coelacanth. And wasn't it like somewhere in South Africa? I don't know if it was in the actual country of South Africa or if it was like geographical South Africa. They just fished one up. And then they just fished another one up, and scientists are like, I'm sorry, you fished what up? Oh, man, these things are so cool.
But it was here long before you were, and it'll be here after you're gone. If you want a low-maintenance life commitment and are sick about Chadots talking back, Relicanth is perfect. In fact, it's even theorized that its lack of evolutions in millions of years is due to it being already perfect.
Perfect, yep.
Oh, damn.
No, it's not a crab. It could be more perfect.
My bad. Number 1 fucked fucker Breloom is coming in hot, going from a simple mushroom into...
Mushroom
well, what
dance.
the hell was he supposed to be? Not a kangaroo? So...
Mushroom dance. Whatever could it mean? It means you've lived a life of sin. That's one of those I really do need to play Undertale. I need to see if that's actual genuine dialogue from that mushroom. All I know is from the Donkey video. Breloom is gonna forever be one of those Pokemon. I love Breloom, but I am so sad that it got shafted with Gen 7 because two of the terrain types are just it's the bane of its existence, right? Psychic terrain in making it so that way its priority moves don't go off, and then electric terrain in which it doesn't actually get its spore to go off, right? Because sleep. Oh, that's actual dialogue? Oh, that's peak. I love that.
Octillery evolution aside, what does Breloom have? Well, it's 4 foot tall and can still punch you in the face because it has extending fists that are totally invisible due to punching with the speed of a bullet train. Breloom
Nice.
can clear a crowd of people by the time they realize what the hell it's even supposed to be. Aside from the danger of being knocked out, which... I mean, as a kangaroo, it's not like it's a disciplined martial artist like other fighting types. The main problem comes from its tail seeds being incredibly bad for you and causing stomach problems. If you're picking stuff off your dog to eat, what, do you want me to feel bad for you? Give him the standard plant treatment and maybe a Wobbuffet to wail on and you'll be good. Solrock is next and... it's a floating rock.
Doobie.
Really, I want you to tell me what I'm supposed to do with this.
You return to space like Tim Curry. The whole what was it, Command and Conquer? Was that the bit? The last place that capitalism hasn't touched in space or something like that? I can't remember. Wasn't George Takei also one a personality that showed up, right? You are made of stupid. It's so good. There was that mini quest. Is that what I'm referencing by space? Is there was that mini quest, and I think it was Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon specifically. The dude in the desert, right? Didn't he like return to space or something? Like there are some fun little quests in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
The rock floats. Very good for it. But what
It's so
exactly
cool.
makes this a pet you'd want? The only reason it and the Lunatone are separated is because Solrock is covered in long spikes that might knock stuff off tables that it passes.
True.
You want to see a more interesting version of this? Bam! Claydol. He's a floating
Yeah.
rock, but he's at least weird about it. On to the
He's at least weird about it. Oh no, that's a way to describe that.
good pets. 15 ushers in the first wave of acceptable pets that will be great for most owners. And to show that I'm the only one qualified for this job, I'm starting with the real best legendary in Hoenn, Regice. Yeah, there's one above him, but like, he's better. How in
like
the world
Regice.
could one of the Reggies be better than the other ones? Significantly better at that. Well, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire are good for one thing, and that's boosting the hell out of Regice's score.
Yeah.
See, all of the Reggies who existed at the time of the game's release could be collected in it, flat braille and all. But what steps do you need to catch their boss, Regigigas? Well, getting all of the Reggies is the obvious first step, but from here it's all about Regice. To
trying to-
open Regigigas,
Trying to remember. What is Regice's stat block? Isn't it actually something insane? Dude, if that was 30 speed, this would be way better. Special defensive 200. That's literally its claim to fame. HP 80, defense special attack 100, special defense 200. It's a specially defensive wall. Unfortunately, ice isn't a defensive typing. If it literally had that special defensive 200 and that a special attack slot, like if they swapped so special attack was 200 and special defense was 100, I think this would be a different ballgame. I think this would be a much better Pokemon. Just because ice just isn't it's not defensive by nature, and anything you try to make it defensive is just not really going to work. Yeah, you can absolutely pair it with the water typing, but it still like doesn't quite work. I would argue some of the best ice types are the most offensive.
Regius's door, you need to not only nickname your Regice, but give him an item that's related to the cold. This can be either the Nevermelt Ice, Icy Stone, or a Castelia Cone. In order to catch Regigigas, you have to give Regice some ice cream and give him a fun nickname. He's a baby compared to the other two, and that makes me like him a hell of a lot more as a pet.
Fair.
You think that's it? Regice's field trip is only getting started. In Galar, to collect him in the Crown Tundra, you need to get him his best friend, Cryagonal. Cryagonal was the first ever Pokemon without a gender, besides Mew, to be able to learn Attract, which has led to a long-standing joke that Cryagonal doesn't know what love is.
I mean, does it fail? I mean, how does that work? Does it just fail, or does it? What's the in-game interaction? What happens mechanically there? I assume it would fail, right? Because it can't confirm male female binary logic, right? In Pokemon, because you have male Pokemon, you have female Pokemon, you have genderless Pokemon, right? Like that's how the game functions. I don't know how that works actually.
Well, I can safely say that by Gen 8, that joke is dead, because him and Regice are tight. These two are butt buddies for life. I'm willing to compromise my integrity for Regice. Next is Lunatone, smooth Soul Rock. Next is Tropius, slightly smoother Soul Rock.
It fails, but I'd love to cause confusion. I agree, Yako. I think it should just cause confusion.
Damn, I should start grading them all like this. That would be way quicker. Tropius is a surprisingly good pet for being a dinosaur, with its biggest knock being how much space he takes up. Gonna make taking care of him inside a lot harder. But as a grass type, he's hardly gonna be spending that much time indoors anyway. His behavior and safety I had to speculate on a little bit, since most of his dex entries are dry as fuck.
Yeah.
But a lot of them do touch on how delicious the bananas that grow on his chin are.
Yeah,
I'm
they love
saying
those.
that if it's so well known that his bananas taste great and people have picked enough to prove it, I'm guessing he's pretty chill with it and willing to let it happen. If he
Yeah.
didn't like that you were eating parts of his body, I think he'd let you know.
He would just fly away. He's polite about it. He's the guy that's not gonna tell you that you messed up and or insulted him, and he's just kind of a chill guy. But he's just gonna he's gonna go away and he'll do other things. Like he's not trying to be a jerk, but he's also just too much of a legit guy to actually tell you that you actually like messed up or hurt him, right?
16 is next, as we get our first normal type in a hot minute with Zangoose. Now, Zangoose, of
this high
course,
up.
has the baggage of Seviper following him around all the time, but where Seviper has no defense against getting chunks ripped out of him, Zangoose has evolved to actually benefit from Seviper's poison. Poison not only doesn't affect Zangoose, but will actually buff him too, giving him extra strength to put a stop to the fight quicker. When he's off the clock from his job, fucking hating Seviper, he's much more cat-like than he might appear, enjoying napping off poison and trips to the beach. Zangoose will obviously have its moments, but a quick spritz from the spray bottle and he's likely to calm down. Or get more violent, I don't know. Next is
It's one of those.
Hariyama, and boy was I close to rethinking the type grading with him. By all measures, Hariyama is great. As a sumo wrestler, his discipline is fantastic, as well as his attitude. Hariyama will only fight those willing to fight, respecting the rules of a clean fight, and congratulating his opponent after a good match. His strength is incredible, but measured. He's a kind and respectful friend and teacher to wayward Makuhitas. What's wrong with him? Well, this is where typing matters, because as a fighting type, he's just not meant to be a pet.
Right.
He's the size of a person, acts like a person, eats like 10 people, and is as wide as about 3. I wish I could rate him higher, but there's just too much baggage. Latios ends out the group, and since he kept his lips to himself, he's allowed to be discussed. Now, as the yang to Latios's yin, he's not quite as kind and is the more combative of the two. Latios, though, is great at reading a situation thanks to its psychic empathic abilities, allowing it to read the thoughts of people and understand them. Latios is also smart enough to understand and communicate with humans, so there's no guesswork when it comes to how to care for him. But That also does mean that if he's feeling unappreciated or like you're not doing enough, he won't knock stuff over, he'll just curse you out.
Based.
By the way, only one entry talks about Latios being smart. Meanwhile, every entry of Latios's talks about his intelligence.
Aww.
17 may be a great grade, but they are not sending their most interesting to start out with. Swallow is a bird.
That's
I know
a
it's a
bird.
normal flying type like Pidgeot or Noctowl or whatever, but this is the most bird-ass bird I've ever seen. He can't turn his head like Noctowl, he doesn't have hair like Pidgeot. Its dex entries could easily just describe a real bird. This sauceless bastard has nothing remarkable about him.
Sauceless, bro. At least it's not Rizless. Or maybe sauceless and Rizless go together. It's just bird.
You want a bird? Here. A no-frills, gimmickless bird that likes flying and building nests. Get this man his thunder armor, he's naked.
Yeah,
Spinda
thunder
is
armor
up
based.
next, and if you have a compulsive collecting problem, just go back to catching Pavilions. I'm
Bro, I don't even touch Spinda.
trying to save your life here. You're not
Yeah.
gonna find the one with a penis on its face. Spinda is an adorable
he's it's not funny, but it's also really funny.
klutz, incapable of walking in a straight line as he sways all around, harmlessly bumping into stuff as he bounces from one wall to the next. His normal typing saves him a lot here because a fire-type Spinda would be a walking disaster, and as he is now, he's a totally harmless cutie. Except, well, Spinda's got a very weak stomach from all that dizziness and
Yeah.
is prone to getting sick when he gets too excited.
I guess you could argue this is kind of like proto-Kamala design, right? Because Kamala is just tiny little koala bear that just sleeps. Spinda is just tiny dancing bear that is just so tired, exhausted, and confused from dancing and spinning so much, right? I guess you could kind of see that design even this far back, right?
Spinda, baby, just throw up in the purse. It's okay, I'll get a new one. We're at a wedding, Spinda. Please sit still. Next up is Milotic, the majestic sea serpent who saw everything that Gyarados brought and decided to do it better. Evolving from the ugly duckling Feebas, Milotic is a Pokemon well worth the effort of getting.
Gen 4 specifically, it has a massive... Oh, man, getting a Feebas in Gen 4 sucks.
As its beautiful appearance is sure to make you the talk of the town. You'll be sure that's positive talk too, since Milotic is a natural anger suppressant.
Best cat sea serpent. It's not wrong.
Able to quell the angry hearts of people with its mere presence. Milotic would be in the running for the best of the best if it weren't for how high maintenance it is. Would you believe that getting it fresh spring water to live in is the easy part? Other regions play it easy with Milotic, since you just need to trade a Feebas holding a prism scale to get one. But Jesus. Hawaiian Milotics need you to up their beauty to the max before they can evolve.
Wouldn't it be Hoennian?
170 beauty is really high. You're gonna be shoveling Poffins into Feebas until it bursts. It's worth it in the end, but damn is it a lot of hard work. Last up is Linoon. Crappy Furret, as we call it in the Furret community. Now, where Furret couldn't hurt something if it tried, Linoon's sharp claws, rough fur, and meaner attitude make it a less safe choice than the Tube Rat. Now, I can't exactly have bias here. Any Furret-like tendencies go into the positives column for Linoon. Like,
I'm gonna I will sit here and stand by while this Linoon slander happens. You know what? He probably deserves it.
how long it is, its normal typing, its easy diet, and how easy it is to house. The main thing hurting him is that if you can get a Linoon, you should probably just get a Furret.
Yeah.
Keep him away from any Kiss albums, and he'll be a good pet.
I love how Kiss coded the entire Galarian line is.
Barreling towards the end with 18, and we get the last of the starters with Sceptile.
Hey.
Huh. Grass always seems to do really well among the starters.
Yeah, I mean, we from the beginning, we said that it seemed like Grass definitely had a bias towards it.
Wonder how long that will last for. Sceptile's only negative trait I can say is its housing. He's a little on the big side, and that giant tail is gonna give him trouble if space is tight, but beyond that, I can say he's pretty great.
So the little balls he has on his back, right? Are those like supposed to be some sort of like cotton or like what's on his back? I don't think I've ever really heard via Dex entry what it would be. I'm assuming that they would grow back as well. So I'm assuming you could have some sort of like, you know, like weave some sort of fiber out of it. I think it's interesting to think on.
Sceptile's used to living in dense forest environments, which makes him extremely agile and good at maneuvering. So it's just as likely he'll be able to get around the kitchen without knocking anything over. That's why I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt that his razor-sharp wrist leaves won't be lopping off heads anytime soon. He'll take the time. Also, after Tropius made it acceptable to eat a little bit of your pet, Sceptile has bulbs on his back that are rich in nutrients and great for your health.
Oh, okay. So they're fruit. Okay. I didn't know what they were. Yeah, okay, so there's Dex entries that talk about this.
Next up is Hoenn, and with Generation 3 being the one to introduce double battles, it was natural they'd make a few that work best in double battles.
The gimmick of this generation.
After 3 tries, they even made a good one. Hoenn is a Pokemon not built for battle, at least not on his own. Hoenn is the backup, supporting you with moves like Play Nice and Helping Hand.
We actually watched a good video by False Swipe Gaming that I think rebalanced Pluzle and Hoenn. And it really overhauled them. But like, yeah, I mean, they kind of suffer. Even in double battles, they're kind of like, eh.
The amount of Pokemon who aren't made for combat is small, so any one of them fitting the bill is gonna be great pet material. Having a little mouse buddy that tells you you're doing all right isn't something most people are gonna say no to. And with how few attacking moves it learns, your safety is assured. Sure, it's electric, and it can take as few as 42 volts to kill a person, but it is blue. Now remember that. And what would Hoenn be without his partner in crime, Absol? We all remember those skits before the Pokemon movies where they'd get up to mischief. Absol is one of the highest rated dark types we're ever going to see.
Yeah, I took a minute, yeah. Wasn't it the Peachy Brothers shorts? Yeah, I remember this.
And really, based on that attitude and actions, we might have to send him in for reclassification.
What happened to the Peachy Bros, actually, now I think about it? They just kind of abandoned that, didn't they? When did they? I'm trying to think, because like that was a direction they were trying to go with. Maybe just Peachy Bros lost their charm. Maybe it was a Scrappy-Doo effect. I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch the movie. I don't think I saw any of the Peachy Bros shorts. Probably after Gen 4? I'll have to double check.
You sure he wasn't a normal type having a bad day? Absols are solitary creatures who want to stay out of the limelight thanks to years of abuse due to being seen as bad luck and harbingers of disaster. Really though, they're just sensitive to disasters like Swampert is, but since one of them is a 200+ pound wall of wet muscle, and the other has an Emover, people found it a lot easier to bully one than the other. Absol isn't a social dog who's going to enjoy his time out at the dog park, but he is gentle, calm, and quiet. For people who deal with a lot of stress, it sounds like the perfect pet. I will say, though, you can tell how much Game Freak wasn't ready for how much people were going to like the Sephiroth dog because they pivoted a full 180 on this thing. Yeah. Oh, no. It doesn't cause the disasters. It's actually trying to not cause disaster.
I think that was, I'd have to check the earlier Dex entries. I'm pretty sure even as far back as like Emerald, like this was the effect. Like that was the understanding, right? Is that it just kind of shows up and like, well, yeah, Emerald came out in like 2005, and I think Ruby and Sapphire came out in 2003, at least stateside. So I was always under the impression this was always the thing rather than a retcon.
Propaganda is everywhere, folks.
Yeah,
lastly, for 18... What the fuck? Is that a glitch? Holy shit, that's a glitch! Falling just short of the best pets are 19. And in one case, it was by a margin so thin, it's almost unbelievable.
Luvdisc and
First
Altaria?
off is Luvdisc,
okay,
who has denied the Alomomola rumors for the 12th time today, and still nobody believes them.
Yeah.
Now, a lot like how Swellow was just a bird, Luvdisc is super just a fish.
I did love the rain effect and how it went over the camera in Battle Revolution. Dude, I wish we could go back to this.
But again, that's not a negative. It is for me, because telling you why a fish makes a good pet is harder than it sounds. You really just need what you need to take care of a fish to own a Luvdisc. It's super easy going, really simple needs, not a lot of hard work, and in return, you get a fish that amplifies feelings of love and makes the whole environment around it a better place to live in. Now,
Is this going to be a Harry Potter like love potion situation where like if you make somebody fall in love with you because you own a love disc, it's actually really, really bad and it dooms your relationship? Does love disc get access to like in prison, right? Does it get access to that move? Or like curse? Oh man. Oh, that's so bad.
should be said, if you plan on getting one, you cannot get just one love disc.
Yeah.
A love disc on its own is one of the saddest creatures in the world. So
Hey, yo, just like me, for real.
you need at least two. And maybe a Corsola to keep it company since they love sleeping in its coral. If you go through that, though, you're opening yourself up to the problems of having a Corsola, so let's just keep the platonic ideal in our head. The other 19, missing out by half a point, is Altaria.
So it doesn't get access to imprison or curse, but it gets access to Draining Kiss. so it makes the relationship happen, and then he gains sustenance off of it. It's still kind of foobar.
Showing Salamence that it's actually not that hard, Altaria is our second flying dragon type, and easily the best of the two. Even giving Dragonite a run for its money. Altaria is an absolute sweetheart, radiating positivity and kindness with its beautiful singing and great attitude. Altaria's body is covered in super soft cloud-like feathers that mean Altaria makes the world's best pillow, singing softly as you rest your head on its back.
Dude, I've missed Meg Altaria. I love the floof ball.
And before you think I'm taking advantage of Altaria, this is something it's known to do, only with those it creates a special bond with. Altaria is undoubtedly the best of all the dragon types we've seen so far, raising the bell curve of the entire typing based purely on its existence.
Yeah,
It
that's
missing
true.
out on the best of the best is a shame.
I mean, that's how statistics work, right? If you have an anomaly, let's say everything has a value of like 4, and then you have an anomaly that's a value of 10, that, like, obviously when you like math out, like you get median, mean, average, right? Like that will still raise everything else up.
But if I made exceptions for everybody, then Absol fans would never leave me alone. So if you want a reason why it can't be in the best pets, look up Wet Altaria. It's time for the cream of the crop. The 20s and above mark the best for what we have to offer, and serve as the last stop before the best and worst,
Kecleon.
with only 3 left before the main event. The 20s begin with another type who usually doesn't make it this far, with Masquerain bullying bugs to a fantastic finish.
Interesting.
Now, what makes Masquerain a good pet?
It's the Intimidate. It forces your landlord to give you cheaper rent.
Mostly humans having developed brains. See, Masquerain's main feature are its large horns that it uses for intimidation. It has Intimidate as an ability, for God's sakes. Pokemon are terrified of this thing. Clearly, to a human, they're nothing to be scared of, so after that, you're left with a dainty, well-behaved, beautiful bug whose feeding habits are a benefit to you. With its source of inspiration partially being dragonflies, I don't doubt that it would make quick work of mosquitoes and other pests. And that dragonfly inspiration means it also has incredible control over its flight. If Ninjask knocked over your CD rack for the last time, Masquerain is the perfect replacement.
Yeah.
Kecleon is next, and after
Can't spell Kecleon without Kek. That's not how that works. He's still funny.
a generation of normal types really testing how far pretty privilege can get you, it's nice to start seeing some that are uncomplicatedly good. Kecleon is a chameleon, and if you know anything about them, it's that they can change color. Where normal chameleons use their color changing as a means of communication, Kecleon uses it for the much more believed reason of camouflage. Not only will it use it to avoid fights or get the drop on somebody, Kecleon also uses it to play, as its favorite game is hide and seek.
Are we profiling the Kecleon? Are we typecasting them? No, they actually do play hide and seek though. That's actually why you get the the Devon scope, because you have to suss them out, you have to sniff them out, and then you find them, and then you actually get to battle and catch them.
Will get sad and refuse to uncloak if not found quick enough, But that distinctive red stripe on its stomach is a dead giveaway to make sure you can always find him. Pair that with another easy pest diet and endless customizability, and Kecleon fits perfectly in the best of the best. Now, color change in Protean might be a problem, since if he hangs out too much with the neighborhood Dusclops, he might come back and steal your soul, but...
Does he actually get Protean? Does he?
Fuck, are you perfect? Finally
No,
is
I'm not.
Chimecho, who was just an excuse to make Chingling a generation later. Chimecho
Yeah.
is a sneaky good pet. You see it, and like everybody else who played Hoenn, don't regard it. Looking into it though, and there's really nothing more you can ask for. The most this thing can do is make noise, and while Exploud shows that's enough to be at the bottom of the barrel, that's not what Chimecho's about. It's able to make much more calm noises that make it one of the few Pokemon to learn Heal Bell naturally. It's much more on the passive side, and is as easy to house as it is to string up a bell.
Doesn't Ho-Oh actually learn Heal Bell as well? I know there's a couple that do it.
Anywhere you can hang it from is its territory, and it's not uncommon for them to rest on porches or in windowsills for hours at a time, just fluttering in the breeze. The only reason I can't put it higher is because the Gen 2 remakes, X and Scarlet, mention it having a sucker on the top of its head that it uses to stay in place, and I don't like that one bit.
No, sir, I don't like it. Whatever the oh man, Simon Whistler uses it sometimes. The I don't know what cartoon it's from. It's the horse. No, sir, I don't like it. Someone know what I'm talking about.
Almost as much as I don't like the bottom 5, which we're about to get into along with the best of the best. The 5th worst Poképet is not going to be much of a surprise to people who know what death is. Now, I've caught some flack in the past for how I've treated ghost types unfairly, and that they have some good members. So am I going to get to see them anytime soon? Between Baynet and Shedinja, it's hard to say they've been trying hard to impress, and Dusclops is among the worst. While some ghosts are simply annoying or jerks, not many are as malevolent as Dusclops. Dusclops has the ability to absorb any living creature into its body, regardless of size, and make it stop existing.
Dude, it's so cool. I also want to do a brief aside as well. In the format of Pokemon TCG that we're currently in, especially after rotation, which is, we have like Dragapult EX, Clefairy EX, right? I'm trying to remember. It's after Twilight Masquerade. What we have a Dusclops and a Dusknoir in the format that like knocks itself out, so it gives your opponent a prize. But then, like, you put, like, 6 if it's Dusclops and, like, 13 if it's Dusknoir, damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way that you like. And it's really fascinating because it's the only thing in the Pokemon TCG I've really seen like it. It was played heavily with Dragapult. The meta might have changed by now. But yeah, Dragapult doing the 260 wherever you want on your opponent's bench, combined with, I just Dusknoir, Alt F4, proceed to drop damage counters. It was actually said that by a couple people, and I would agree with it, that the Duskull line, Dusclops and Dusknoir, the ones that do that, are actually unhealthy for the game because of how they interact with the game. It's interesting. I like it. Just bringing in some TCG facts.
That's not me trying to censor killing. I mean, there's no way of knowing what happens to the stuff Dusclops absorbs.
He just joinks them.
Are they dead? I sure hope so, because what could the alternative be?
Bro, they're just in the Shadow Realm. Come on now.
If you think it's merely for survival, let me remind you, he's dead! Dusclops doesn't do this for its own good, it just does it because it's pure evil. It has no allegiances. Whatever it can absorb, it will.
Nom nom nom.
Friends, enemies, neighbors, mailmen, landlords. So he's not pure evil.
And then you give him the Eviolite and he sucks it up and then he becomes like just 50% stronger. He becomes so bulky.
Still, if your dog has a high likelihood of sending you to the Hell Dimension, then I don't want to see it.
He's
a
so
Pokemon
cool.
who would die to keep you safe from a fate like this is the 5th best Poképet.
There it is. Dog.
Now,
exactly.
any Pokemon that can double as a roommate is always going to get side eyes, but Gardevoir is indisputably a great pet. It's hyper-intelligent thanks to its psychic powers, has style and grace that leaves people mesmerized, and most of all, is extremely protective of its trainer.
I was the style and grace I thought was going to lead into a DK64. This Kong is a funny face meme. What has happened to my brain?
Fighting to the bitter end to keep them safe. That's cool, but I mean, there's such a thing as too much. So many Gardevoir entries are about how protective it is that it eventually comes off as clingy. Like, you can't leave the house without coming back to a furious Gardevoir.
Tsundere status.
And in protecting its trainer, it can cause some major damage, as it can create small black holes to fight. I don't think the size of the black hole really matters much. Get Gardevoir a U body pillow and you're set. After him is a rerun.
I thought that Gardevoir model was pretty great. I mean, it's definitely been touched up over the years. It was a good entry. I agree with it.
Of a previous bottom fiver, and they have done nothing to fix themselves.
Cow.
Camerupt should be better than this. It's got some aspects that make for a good pet, like being easygoing. But when it gets bad, it gets bad. Camerupt is stewing 18,000 degree hot magma inside of its body. And when it gets angered or wants to fight, will erupt and blast it everywhere. Where Magcargo could at least keep it to itself when it was hot, Camerupt can burn down an entire town in one fit of rage. Even if it has the happiest life imaginable, it still has to erupt every 10 years, so you're gonna be in trouble eventually.
Eventually, you're gonna bust. No, I will not change that phrasing.
Worse yet, its natural home is in volcanic craters, which, even in the summer, the average unair-conditioned apartment just can't match. Camerupt would be fine if everything about him was completely different. A good template to work off of is the number 4 best pet.
Castform. Yeah, I can see this.
Castform comes in with a great finish for a Pokemon entirely based on a gimmick. Castform will change with the weather between 3 forms: a sunny, rainy, and snowy form. For a region with such a prominent desert and so many Pokemon who live in it, Castform never having a sandstorm form has always been weird to me. Extensive testing has been done, and we're now sure that it's not just it being wet, hot, or cold that triggers its changes. No, it has to be one of those ways outside for Castform to change. If Castform floats under a shower, it'll be fine. If it's hot outside, it won't change, and if you stick it in the freezer, the f***'s wrong with you? More so, it has to be outside and experience those conditions for itself to take change in the first place.
Look, you have to understand, okay? Science demanded I put the Castform in the freezer and then in the microwave, okay? Science demanded an answer. The Castform was just going along with it, okay? It was curious about the microwave as well.
If you don't feel like putting up with that gimmick, you can always just keep him inside. Beyond the mechanics of it, though, it means you have a pet who can thrive no matter the weather, feeding off the energy of the weather itself, and even able to harness it into stuff like Weather Ball. The only knock against him, and it can be minor, is that Castform's mood is based on the weather, with him growing more intense based on how intense the weather is. So if you get caught in a snowstorm, not only are you risking hypothermia, but also an angry Castform.
Yeah.
Just make sure to keep him indoors when it gets bad outside, and you have a top-tier pet.
Yeah,
It'll
makes
take
sense.
a lot more to make number 3 anything more than an absolute nightmare.
Bro, what is this ghost slander? My homie just wants to stay at home and just like vibe with his crystal collection. Come on now. Bro, you can't do my boy like this.
Ever wanted a little fucker as a pet?
Yes.
Sableye is a one-way ticket to the madhouse, or poorhouse, depending on which breaks first. Your mind, or the bank. Sableye is an annoying little jerk who merges dark and ghost, and takes their worst aspects for himself. He can—
Bro, but he gets the pranks. I think Sableye is one of those that, especially with his Mega, I think he kind of like power creeps himself over the years. Like he goes into power creep, right? Especially because Prankster doesn't work on him, right? But he can use Prankster right back. He's also immune to, I think, both counter and mirror coat, right? Like he has his own little niche, right? I don't know. I'm also biased. I like my little gremlin dude.
Sneak anywhere he wants to, take whatever he wants to, never give it back, and then torment you if you try to take it back. He has a sinister energy surrounding him that turned him into a folk monster, And unlike Absol, he earned every bad word said about him.
Oh.
All of that could be forgiven if not for the fact that Sableye refuses to eat anything except precious gemstones.
Yeah.
You try and feed him that lab-grown shit, he's gonna send your ass to the Nightmare Realm for 3 weeks straight. Now, if you own a blood diamond mine, this thing's a fantastic pet.
The
crueler
guard dog.
the conditions, the more he likes it.
Yeah.
And for the number 3 best Poke Pet,
Medicham, really?
after Dragon and Bug got surprisingly high finishes, it's nice to see fighting get its time in the sun too. Like Hariyama and, unlike Blaziken and Breloom, Medicham practices a martial art, a combination of Chinese Kung Fu and yoga. This
That we're slandering Blaziken still.
gives it an incredible attitude. Stoic and steely, powerful yet gentle. Medicham is such a well-behaved pet. Its psychic powers also manifest less in telekinesis, but instead precognition and a sixth sense, making it safer than most psychic types. And if you forget to feed it for, 3 weeks,
Yeah.
while Sableye has you trapped in the nightmare dimension, Medicham doesn't mind, since it helps to hone its abilities through fasting.
Nice.
If you're worried about pure power making it a powerhouse, you can always just get one with telepathy instead of pure power. Or keep some Galarian wheezing gas in a can.
Yeah.
Number 2 worst, though.
Actually, that's a good point. I'm pretty sure you could can that stuff, right? Like compressed air and stuff. Yeah, you could can Galarian wheezing neutralizing gas, right? Like you could do that.
I mean, come on, it's Wailord. Is it nice? Sure. Does it mean harm? No. Is it 47 feet long? Oh, I found the problem. This thing is absurdly huge.
I love it.
The largest Pokemon of them all by a comfortable margin.
I think that's the part about Sword and Shield, and I don't know, I think it's in Scarlet Violet too, right? That's the part that makes me really upset is we don't actually have true dynamic sizing. So you see this thing in like Pokemon like XD Yellow Darkness, Pokemon Battle Revolution. This thing is massive, right? But they really like tone down the discrepancy. I remember off the Isle of Armor though, DLC for Pokemon Sword and Shield, we did get to see like a Wailord off in the distance, like actual size Wailord. So we do technically have like an in-game size comparison, but using it in battle, it is not nearly as big. I also want Pokemon to give my boy Darkest Lariat naturally. I want the spin to actually be a thing in game. Like I want spinning Wailord to actually be like just work.
Even if it's shorter than real blue whales by more than half, it's still going to be impossible to do anything with it. It averages around 14 feet tall and 47 feet long. You're adopting a decommissioned subway train, not a pet.
It's so good.
You would need a space the size of a basketball court just to hold this thing. Not keep it, hold it. As in, hold it there until you can find an area big enough to store it.
I agree. I think, well, I don't know. I mean, it seems like Wailmer and Wailord are pretty plentiful in Pokemon. IRL, yeah, endangered species. Do we have an Orca Pokemon now that I think about it? I don't think we have an Orca now that I'm like actually thinking about it.
Most of the time, that just ends up being the ocean. As even in the manga, a captive Wailord is sort of just let loose to float around in the ocean rather than attempt to house it. Ease of care? Sure, it can hunt on its own, but do you have several 100 pounds worth of fish on hand? It's not a badly behaved pet, probably the lowest a Pokemon will ever go for this reason, but it's too damn big. Luckily, another water type is here to shore up its
Ludicolo.
weaknesses, as the number 2 best pet is... Ludicolo.
I guess Kyogre could be Orca coded. Maybe I could see that about Lapras. Maybe. I don't know. That's interesting to think on. Yeah, Ludicolo he's great. Doesn't he make... I haven't seen Detective Pikachu. I know they brought the Berserk gene, which was really cool. Like, I know that about it, which like, wow, that's... Ooh, talk about Gen 1 stuff. Well, Gen 2 stuff specifically, right? Because that was a held item in Gen 2 GSC. Doesn't he make a great waiter in Detective Pikachu or something like that? Like, he's just best waiter.
Might look a bit odd, but as far as Hoenn pets go, it's hard to beat him. Ludicolo's entire life is dancing and positive energy, down to his very cells working overtime if it listens to happy music. Ludicolo is a shining beacon of goodness, and only slows down when you do. It can sound exhausting, sure, but it's really hard to say it does much wrong.
It stops moving. It's slower when you do. So it's the perfect Pokemon for Mirror B from Colosseum and Gale of Darkness, then, right? Because that man, he just keeps grooving. He just keeps going.
Easy to house, easy to care for, super safe, and a joy to be around. If you want to go outside, but the weather's too bad, he can use Sunny Day and bring out the best. If you want to cancel an engagement, but the weather's too nice, he can use Rain Dance and poof, your plans are gone.
Yeah.
The only thing is that it says he gathers power with dancing too. So if it goes on for too long, cut the music! He's getting stronger! And now it is time for the worst of the worst with the Hoenn pets. Who the f is this guy?
Nice.
So
Let's
remember
Swalot.
Muck? Imagine if he had a mustache. Swalot is maybe the easiest Pokemon to describe out of them all.
I love him.
It's a giant walking pile of poison that wants to eat you. Does it want to? Does it even realize what it's doing? I don't know. Nobody's been able to ask without getting eaten like a Scooby-Doo sandwich. Really, the Muck comparison is ruining a lot of this discussion, since if you want to know how I feel about Swalot, just draw a mustache on a piece of paper, hold it up to Muck during that discussion, and you got it. But we'll have way more to talk about with the number one best Poke Pet in all of Hoenn.
Makes sense. Yeah.
It's just a cat.
Yeah, it's certainly
with
a cat.
The ability to turn any move into a normal type move.
Yeah.
Makes sense, really.
Yeah. Pretty
Digimon
reasonable.
wins again.
Yeah. It's always Digimon.
One more of these f***ing things and I'm done for the rest of my life. Trico and Torchic in the back. We got Mudkip and Marshtomp here in the
Amazing.
track. Swampert Puchiana, I see you too. We got Wurmple and Beautifly and Cascoon.
I'm getting Game Grumps vibes from this, actually. I love those.
Tadlambre, Ludicolo, Linoon, and Silcoon, but more to go through. Grovyle and Sceptile, Combuskin and Blaziken. Where you at? Cause it's me, I'm asking. Mighty and a Dustock, Seedot, and Nuzleaf. I see Shrintry over there, waving peace. Nobody even knows this f***ing Poke-Rap exists. I would rather be doing anything else in the world right now than singing this fucking awful Poke-Rap. I hate this so much. I don't enjoy this. This isn't fun for me. I hate these. I hate these videos. I hate this chair. I hate this computer. I hate this screen. I hate the person watching this. Personally, I hate everything.
Bro, truly the mental spiral has hit. Truly, we are cooked.
I don't want to be here anymore. I'd really like to go home now, but I don't know where home is anymore.
Yeah.
Latios and Latios. On my right, Regice, Registeel, Regirock through the night. Duskull, Duscalops, Tropius, Tremeco, Absol, Glalie, Schviel, and Celio. Clamperl and Huntil, Corbis, you're the most. Love-Disc, Vagon, Shelgon, Metagross. Armaldo, Phoebos, Milotic, and we're still not done. Castform, Kecleon, ain't this fun? Why not in Snorunt? Yo, where you at? Shuppet and Bannock, step up to bat. Salamence, Bedlam, Matang, and Groudon, Kyogre, and Walrein, and we've only just begun. Ha!
Kyogre.
He said the name's wrong. Did you hear that? The person who I got to make this song even told me this is a huge piece of dog shit. It's a big piece of dog shit. This is horrible. They had to tweak it a lot to make it listenable, and I don't blame them. I'd have done the same thing if I knew what the hell I was doing.
Bro, I'm curious what he's playing to make this happen. I'm curious what version of Emerald. This is great. I love this. It's perfect.
Do you think a good person will still go to hell if they do bad things, even if they were a good person?
Makuhita,
Yeah.
Hariyama, Azurill and Nosepass, Skitty, Delcatty, Sableye, moving fast. Slacking, Ninkata, Loudred, and Exploud. Aggron, Metatype, Metachamp, say it loud. Swallow, Wingull, Pelipper, and Ralts. Shroomish, Breloom, Slackoff, and Vigoroth. Dingwild, Tailo, Aaron, Electrike, Manetric, Wussle, Laren, who you like. Rayquaza, Ninjas, Chidinja, Whismur, Vibrava, Flygon, which one do you prefer? Curlia, Gardevoir, Surskit, and Masquerain. Come on, everybody, help me sing the refrain.
Oh my god, this is amazing.
Big ass shit.
Nice. I feel that. He just leaves. Oh, wonderful. Oh my god, yep, the berry blending minigame. Oh. I love this.
It's time
This
to get back to work.
is
We
perfect.
make it real quiet just for a few. Jirachi, Deoxys, Celebi, and Mew. Now we bring it back again for Torkoal
Why
and Sport,
Celebi?
and Numel and Cam erupt rocking this joint.
Celebi's Gen 2, though.
Big Spin, Trepich, Gulbin, Swallet, Rosalia, Carvanha, Sharpedo, Wilmer, I see ya, Wailord, Illumize, Volbeat, and Minoon. Everyone stay with me, cause the end is coming
And soon. I love the box
Dilly,
names.
Laleep, and Claydol. People pay attention, cause that's not all. We got Baltoy and Crawdon, Corfish and Wishcash, Barbroach and Solrock's the names they can't last. Lunatone's a Viper, Zengu, Saltaria, Swablu, and Cacturn. And I hope I'm not scaring ya. There's one more name that I have to relay. It's spelled C-A-C-N-E-N-D. Alright, time for the freestyle, and Zigzagoon, and Relicanth. That's it.
I love that he made the Pokemon in the grass. Good stuff, dude. what a banger video. And I agree, Digimon wins. Digimon still wins. I thought that this was great. I know this is something that people have been asking me to react to for a hot minute. And I do apologize about the time it takes. And I apologize about the lack of uploads surrounding it as well. It takes a while to react to these. And I want to make sure that like I'm actually like adding something. I'm not just sitting here like, bro, that's crazy. Or like, man, that Pokemon's so cool. I try to make sure I have some back and forth. I try to make sure I'm additive in some way, shape, or form. Because I don't like not adding something when I do reactions. But honestly, it was really cool. I enjoyed this. And the fact that you still keep with the Pokerap bit is it's so fun, dude. I thoroughly enjoy it. Like I have a lot of fun with this. And hopefully you guys did as well. And I hope that he continues to do just such amazing work. Absolutely just awesome. So definitely go check out Bumbles McFumbles, especially if you have not. And thank you everyone for watching. I really do appreciate it. Definitely go check out the original content. Links, as always, in the description. And I will see you all in the next one.